is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Boys in the Big Apple podcast. We got Luca here. We got Donald from Pittsburgh. So we got a special tank top Donald in with Donald. But another exciting episode. Obviously, Donald was trying to catch a train last week, which everybody is entitled to their days off. I'm going to go around and ask for first thoughts. After first thoughts, I want to do this. I want to get Donald's scope on NYY News TV Day, and then I want to go and talk about something before we get into baseball. But Luca, first thoughts. Shout outs to Joe, who will be going to the game with on Thursday. Luis Castillo's pitching, and Tony, who's at the World Series of Poker, and he's down to the last few tables, so he might win some shit. So
go for it, man.
Yeah, come on, man. All right, what's going on, everybody? Very excited for this Thursday. Obviously, me and Alex and Donald and Joe, a bunch of other guys, going to go out to Yankee Stadium, watch the Yankees play the Reds. Wednesday is very exciting. Alex, if you want to announce that, you can, whatever. But I'm watching the Braves and the Mets. Very important series for the Mets because they are only holding a 1.5 game lead over the Atlanta Braves in the division. So we'll see how that comes out. Max Scherzer versus Max Fried, the battle of the Maxes. So very interesting series, obviously, as the Mets just ground into a double play. No, they didn't, but it's a 2-0 ball game, Mets.
What's the score? Are you saying 2-0 Mets?
2-0 Mets. And, by the way, Robinson Cano, former Met, is playing against the Mets, and they are still paying him.
He's back. I love Max Fried. Max Fried's one of my favorite pitchers in the game. Outside shot of a Cy Young, I think, for the National League.
And let me just say, Alex, are we going to discuss the Zach Wilson stuff?
that might be a topic of discussion. Might. Before I go into
let a player play.
Yes.
Yeah, before I get to Donald, our background today for the graphic right here, that's New Rochelle. I did that on purpose.
Oh, yes. Our favorite place. Dude, that train station, guys. Don't go to that train station.
Oh, my God. And then this, Luca.
Yes, Zach Milf's son. We'll definitely go into it.
Yeah. But Donald, man, if you want to reflect, recent thoughts, you're in Pittsburgh right now, and also NYY News TV Day and your experience there.
Well, let's start off with the NYY News Day. Great day for NYY News. Hey, that's a nice picture. Really cool to meet everybody. And we just had a blast, didn't we? The game itself was a disaster. Catastrophic. But the day itself was really special. Some great people. Shout out to everyone involved at NYY News. Pete put on a heck of an event, so shout out to him. And it was really cool meeting Gary Sheffield Jr. He's a great guy, and so was everyone we met. And we had real fun at the restaurant in New Rochelle. The walk back was an adventure in itself, but that's for another story. But no, the game itself was catastrophic. I'm sure we'll get into that. Then, of course, we had our own day. Remember, we went to our own game the day before. That was an awful game of baseball, but hell of a night. The three of us had a great time, so that was great. Yankee Stadium's on fire these days, man. It's just so much fun. Like, it's great atmosphere, and it's just fire, that place. And I went to PNC Park, so I went to the Yankee Pirate game, the second one when we won 16-0. That was awesome. It was about 70% Yankee fans, so I was right at home. But PNC Park is just beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's just a great place. Everyone's so nice over in Pittsburgh. It's just a really cool place. And, so the game was awesome, too. That was good. I'm glad I exercised my demons. That I was really worried that I was a terrible curse for this team. But, when you put up 16 runs and a bunch of them off there when they've been in their second baseman. That was just like that might have been just a gift for me personally. I think the Pirates were like, you know what, we're going to do a solid for our Yankee fan here, who's traveling all the way to see us. So we put in their second baseman, and we started teeing off on him. It was like a softball score. It was awesome.
I do want to get to something. You know what's gonna be funny though? If Tommy Pham is the left fielder,
he is their starting left fielder.
Oh, fantasy football! We gotta bust his balls about that. Joe's gonna. I know Joe is definitely going to go in on Tommy Pham, the left fielder. So, fantasy football, everybody get your jokes ready, because we know Joe will be leading the charge. He's going to climb the fence. Yeah, he just might. He just fucking might. Big Beat Reactions is also known as Sox Arizona. Good series, Sox. I didn't really want it to come to a split, but your Red Sox played well the last two games. I don't know that he's not making any more New York Giants videos, Blue City, but he is going into horse race betting. That's what I know. So there's that. Unreal comeback for the Sox last night. Yeah, your Orioles have been doing really well too. So there's that.
They're literally 2 games out of the wild card. I'm stunned.
I'm stunned
That's
too.
absolutely ridiculous.
It's weird. I usually don't do this, but because since me and Luca have the opportunity to do this on Wednesday, I kind of inform people on Twitter. If you guys don't know on YouTube, I'll explain it in just a second. Obviously, the famed Sopranos actor Tony Sirico passed away, and maybe we could obviously take like a minute each to discuss like some favorite moments and stuff like that. But why I'm mentioning him is A, he's from Brooklyn, he's from my area. B, I will be at his funeral on Wednesday, live streaming this to whoever watches. So if you guys want the link, it's on my Twitter. If you don't have Twitter and you want the link to his funeral live stream, please let me know. I will put it in the chat. I've spoken to some family members. They've thanked me for what I've done because I want to make this as smooth as possible for them. And of course, I asked Tony's brother if I could actually just like share it out and all that stuff. But unfortunately, to be honest with you, let me share this. And I kind of was pained that I didn't answer my phone earlier because sometimes I don't pick up private numbers. And I was going with my brother to the movie theaters on Friday night. His private number calls me. 2 hours later, I found out Mr. Sirico passes away. And that private number was his brother. So I would have known before anybody else that his brother had passed away. Nonetheless, I like his role in The Sopranos up to this point. Obviously, I'm still watching. Shout outs to MH. Joe says, "What do you hear? What do you say?"
Yeah, that's a Paulie quote. You'll understand what it is later on.
Yeah, later on in The Sopranos. I like his role as Tony Stacks too. Also, he played the dog Vinny in Family Guy for a little bit. He's had a lot of famous roles. Obviously, he was a former mob member, and then he turned his life around to acting. And one of the funny things is I'm going to be wearing a set of pants to the funeral on Wednesday, and he actually shopped at the same store that I got my pants, which is like not too far from here. So, rest in peace, Tony Sirico. Luca?
I love Tony Sirico in The Sopranos. He has some really brilliant moments. If you really want to see his best episode, in my opinion, it has to be Pine Barrens, season 3. I don't know what episode number, but Pine Barrens is the episode to watch if you want to watch Tony Sirico in his prime with The Sopranos. He's had some brilliant quotes too. Like, I mean, obviously in that episode, there's some pretty fun quotes there. Obviously, you got to watch the episode for that, but it was just classic, man. He played that role to a T.
Season 3, episode 11.
There you go. Donald has for you season 3, episode 11 of The Sopranos, Pine Barrens. You have to watch that episode if you're a Tony Sirico fan. So that is that. He's had, as Joe said, what do you hear, what do you say? That's one of his famous quotes. But just sad to see him go. Also, rest in peace to James Caan of The Godfather, who played Sonny in The Godfather. Obviously, that is a classic movie, my favorite movie of all time. Go watch that, please. I know everybody is going to sit through that and enjoy it. You have to really digest it, but I love the
Elf
movie.
and Misery as well.
Elf, yeah, and also The Gambler. I never watched The Gambler, but that is also a very prime role of his.
Have you seen the movie Misery?
No, but I've heard of it. I've heard that he was in it. There you go. Rob says, mix it with the relish.
Mixing it with the relish.
Hi, Rob. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, Rob? Mixing it. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's another quote in Pine Barrens. And then Chris is like, you never know. He might be out there stalking us. With what? His cock? I remember when they were shaking in the van. Oh, my God. And then this is my favorite all-time quote. I've been working on a plan. Give me your shoes. I'm going to go out and get some help. Fuck you. You're not leaving me here. You don't trust me? Stupid. Pitch dark out there. And what's your fucking plan? Eat catcher packs? We should have went to Roy Rogers, and then I should have fucked Dale Evans, but I didn't. That Pine Barrens episode cracked me up.
So Joe says,
"What's your favorite scene, Alex? You keep muttering it to me."
I'll say it in 1 second. One of my favorite scenes with Paulie was when he was at the medium's house. Who you been talking to?
Oh yeah, the psychic,
Fucking Chris.
And he throws the chair.
One of my favorite scenes up to this point, because I haven't finished watching The Sopranos. I haven't finished watching season 3. I'm probably about halfway through. Was when obviously I think Chris owed Paulie some money, and him and Patsy Parisi come in, and Chris sees that Paulie sniffs Adriana's panties, and he tells Tony that, and Tony brings it up to Paulie. He goes, "He tell you that? Fucking baby."
What are your thoughts on The Sopranos now, man? Now you're halfway through.
Yeah, can you give us your thoughts in season 2? Because you didn't give me a real explanation about season 2.
I never give you a real explanation on that shit. But it's very interesting thus far. It's very interesting and intriguing. I will say that. I won't get
interesting.
Yeah, intriguing and all that stuff.
Intriguing, interesting. What about good?
I would say it's been good.
Season 2 or season 1?
I'm gonna definitely say season 1 has some memorable shit in it, but I think season 2.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, I am on season 3 thus far, but yeah.
Again, in my opinion, as a Sopranos fan, like at the end of season 1 was its like takeoff point with all the action. Obviously, with Mikey Palmisi getting killed, Junior going to jail. That's when it
really took off when Tony took his daughter on
exactly. The college episode is probably the most memorable episode with Tony killing Febby Petrulio. One of the most violent scenes ever on television, and that was like violent to that point. Obviously, him putting the garrote around the neck.
That's when it met his mob life with his family life.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it kind of tied the whole two worlds together.
Exactly.
That's when the show really started to take off.
Yeah. Tony says, I met James Woods here at the World Series of Poker. Cool guy. One of my favorite scenes with James Woods in Casino is when he's handling Robert De Niro's daughter while Sharon Stone, who's like, what the hell? Ginger. When Ginger was like coked up and shit like that, he's like, stop it. Tired of your shit.
He's like, no, you ain't gonna see no fucking elephants. He's a really funny guy. I like James Woods.
Donald, your thoughts on Tony Sirico?
The Sopranos is obviously probably the greatest television series of all time. I'm not going to say anything different than what you guys have said. Brilliant character. Paulie Walnuts is one of the greatest written characters of all time, and it's a huge loss. So I'll take this opportunity to send my regards to his family and to all those that loved him. pay my respects. Great guy. It's a huge loss, certainly a huge loss. So rest in peace.
I thought he was going to live longer, a little too soon, but also he's up there with the boss now. He's up there. With
that crushed me when he died. Oh my god, the boss, amazing actor, absolute genius actor.
Yeah, so just to say it one more time before we get into the sports likeness of things, me and Luca will be at the funeral, live streaming.
I honestly like to meet some actors, like Bobby Bacala's from Brooklyn, Edie Falco's from Brooklyn.
They'll be there, won't they?
I would hope.
I've heard
Edie Falco is an unbelievable actress.
I've heard from sources that there was a lot of semi-complication in the funeral plans, and then someone who works with me found out who obviously the funeral arrangements are for. So I said, yeah, that's got to tell you something. And it's never been, I'm not going to say the place in total because I don't want to give it away. But they never really mentioned the spot of the funeral. Like they may have the to be fair though, he had a whole long life. Definitely. I think he was like
79,
5 days away from 80. So, but I would propose it's going to be a big thing. That's why I'm going to be on my best behavior and most professional behavior on Wednesday. So there's that. But
I would love if Steven Van Zandt came Silvio.
Yep.
Well,
I'm sure if I ever meet Steve Sharippa, he's got some funny stories. And plus, Steven
isn't Van Zandt, isn't he a guitarist or something?
Yeah, he plays with Bruce Springsteen.
Oh shit!
But he's not on tour right now, so that's why I think he might come if he can. And also,
I've seen his Twitter. I've seen his tweets and stuff like that in regards to it. So there's every chance he might be there.
Steve Sharippa, he actually talks to Pete on Twitter DMs, so they kind of know each other. He was trying to get Steve to the event, obviously couldn't come. So I hope I see him because he's like a guy I really want to meet. He seems like a nice guy. I'm sure he has stories about Tony Sirico.
Yeah. Most of the big funerals are in Campbell's. I don't know what you mean by that, honestly, but I might be stupid. Good possibility I'm stupid and don't know what that means. But we'll switch over to the sports section, of course. Just wanted to do a little bit of that for Tony Sirico and all the stuff in the beginning. Rays Sox is only 3 innings and it's 5-3 Rays. Interesting to say the least. But the Yankees split a 4-game set with Boston. I'm going to start out with first thoughts. Then we'll go around. We'll go into some deeper subjects of the series and the Yankees as well. But in my honest opinion, this didn't change much for me. Campbell's is a huge funeral parlor in Manhattan.
You think they did Gandolfini Jets mess? Because I know he had a funeral in Manhattan. Like they brought his body back from Italy, probably.
I must say, I have sources who know where the parlors is, but I can't say, of course. But it's not Campbell's, though. It's not Campbell's. Anyway, what was I going to say? So, in my opinion, this series didn't change anything at all for me. We still need the pitching. It showed deeply in the last 2 games. And then, as far as the hitting goes, yeah, it's great. Donaldson, got a couple of nice hits. And
so did Aaron Hicks, but I'm not
through the series, Gallo. But I think we still need the outfielder. We still need the pitching. Obviously, Luis Castillo will be seeing and scouting on Thursday against our team, against Nestor Cortez. I want to start off with Donald first, then I'll go to Luca.
Sure. Okay, so the Sox series, game 4, I mean, it was really the pitching that let us down in game 4. We had a 6-2 lead. We were pretty comfortable. In fact, I thought the game was over. I went and got a pizza, and by the time we came back, the bases were loaded. And we were like, oh. And it all all hell broke loose. It was a complete meltdown. It was a meltdown. I was watching a meltdown. It was like something that you would have saw last year. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
IKF errors, the LeMahieu errors.
Donaldson.
The first one was really on him. I don't know why he called off Aaron Judge. You just don't call off Judge. Judge had the perfect read for the ball. He was right there. Just move aside. I don't know what he was trying to do. It was an impossible play for a second baseman to reach over his head, like he's freaking Spider-Man. It was a bizarre. That was bizarre. Second one, I put 50-50 because Aaron Hicks misread the ball in center field. Aaron Hicks should never be playing center field at like ever again. He's a terrible center fielder at this stage. He's lost a step and a half at least, and his range has been declining. In the outfield, Aaron Hicks. So I think he could have done better, but LeMahieu again just screwed that up. So those are two plays right there. The IKF throw, and Castro couldn't find the strike zone, and when he did, he was serving up softball pitches.
Not to mention two things. Donaldson's failed the play.
Yep.
And even though he only gave up one run, Chapman walked the bases loaded.
Chapman's such a joke. What are they doing with Chapman? He is such a joke. Why is he involved in a tie game?
Exactly. Why is he in a close game? Like, I understand, you got to get him his work and stuff, but he's not showing you the good enough pitching or consistency that he can pitch in close games anymore. I'm sorry. Even the game against the Indians, I think it was like almost a blowout or some shit, and he's walking the bases loaded. He just doesn't have it anymore. He's done.
Oh, he's shot. If his life depended on it, do you see him throwing 3 strikes in a row? Never. No. You put $1 million on it. He just can't do it. He's shot. I don't know what they keep forcing this issue with him. He can't pitch anymore. What do they need? What do they need to see out of the guy? Look at his ERA. Look at everything. Everything that he's doing is below average. Even his strikeout percentage isn't even that good.
Yep.
It's mostly walks. His walk percentage is freaking crazy. I just don't know what they're expecting out of him.
What's going on, Pete?
Yo, Pete.
Well, brother. He's a little under the weather right now, but
and Castro sucks. I mean, I'm pretty much done with Castro.
I mean,
when Blake went and talked to him, and then the next pitch was a freaking gopher ball right down the middle of the plate.
See, the thing with Castro was nobody won that trade between the Mets and the Yankees. Rodriguez is not pitching well for the Mets, and Castro, I'm telling you, has been always that guy where he's not consistent. Where he'll show you a good outing. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. He's like the same like Chapman, but they're on like the same tier of inconsistency. At least I think Castro can get outs for you. He's
got the stuff. There's no question about it. He's got the stuff, but it's the same as Chapman. He's got the stuff too, but if you can't locate your pitches, then what fucking good is it? Excuse me.
You're all good. You're all good. I got to bring up a picture. Just give me one.
Let me just say, Rob says Aroldis Chapman does not deserve to step foot in a major league stadium. Amen.
Rob hates Chapman pretty much as much as I do.
I mean, do I blame you?
No.
Let me just say this. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has the 4th worst fielding percentage among all qualified shortstops in baseball.
Wow.
That should tell. Remember, he was brought in for defense, everybody. And you know what? I'm sorry. I got to bring this up. Donald, what were your thoughts on Hal's comments regarding Aaron Judge? I have to bring that up because we didn't bring that up we weren't live last week because of the 4th of July. But let me just put it out there. Don, what were your thoughts? Guys, chat, you can answer too. What were your thoughts on Hal's comments about the Aaron Judge stuff? I was disgusted.
Well, I wasn't disgusted. I just thought it was stupid. I mean, first of all, what we already know where we are with nothing's happening. We understand that. Why does he need to like accentuate what we kind of already know that they don't want to be a distraction and stuff like that? However, when he said that, it was kind of stupid because I'm sorry, but that train already left the station, man. That ship has sailed with the distraction thing because they already were within hours from taking him to an arbitration hearing. While he's on course to have one of the greatest seasons in Yankee history, they were about to take him to an arbitration hearing over a couple of $1 million. And they're worried about being, and they're saying, oh, they don't want to be a distraction. I'm sorry, Hal. That ship sailed, man. That ship sailed when you publicly tried to embarrass him by bringing up his contract that he didn't agree to at the start of the year. That was a distraction. What do you think that was? That's dirty tactics to try and shame Judge's agent into agreeing some kind of a contract at some point. But again, that was a distraction. The arbitration stuff's been a distraction. At this first month of the year, all he was being asked was his contract, or his teammates were being asked his contract. It happened all through spring training. So the distraction shit long since sailed, man. So stop bringing it up. Like, what the fuck? If there was something that I wanted to hear from my owner, was something different than what I already knew. If there was a time to stop playing, your cards close to your chest, I think that would have been the time to do it. Because this is the one issue that all Yankee fans are universal on. Pay the man. Right? And the closer it gets to free agency next year, then we don't hold the upper hand anymore. And each day that passes, our advantage decreases in these negotiations. So if there was, really, I don't think Judge is asking for the world here, man. You pay him what an MVP would be worth in the open market. So what were we offering him? What, 32? If you offered him a 35 AAV over 7 or 8 years, I can't imagine a scenario where he wouldn't accept that. You work with them. You've got a perfect opportunity during the All-Star break, but whatever it is, they need to just get it done. Because as A-Rod said, the closer you get to free agency, things can change. Just look at what happened with Freddie Freeman and the Braves. From all we heard was how desperate Freeman was to come back to the Braves, but his agent had ulterior motives. His agent wanted to go get him to get the most money possible, and it never happened. And these kind of things can happen when you get to free agency. So this is the time. I
wouldn't say all of that, Donald. Now, here's why. Because his agent, I don't know if you caught on to this, but his agent didn't tell him about a deal that would give him more in Atlanta. I don't know if you heard about that.
Right, yeah, I heard that. Exactly.
Would have been more, but you keep going.
I think he wanted him to go to another market. I don't quite know what happened. Maybe there was a communication breakdown. We don't know. We'll never know. But all I'm saying is that when you get closer to free agency, or when you're in the middle of free agency, things can change. Communication can break down. Something can go wrong. And why would you risk that with your best player? It's kind of stupid at this point. So what Hal was saying was what we already knew. And it was kind of a waste of breath, a waste of space, a waste of time. Say something that we didn't already know, that would have been better. So it didn't really infuriate me. I just thought, dude, this owner is not George. He ain't George. And
he's never
every
been.
time that he speaks, it makes me wish that we had George Steinbrenner, because this would never happen with George Steinbrenner.
To me, here's two questions for you guys. Now,
Yeah.
All right. So Joe says you need another top of the rotation and a contact back to beat Houston. Absolutely. Absolutely. I said that after
100.
the Astros series.
Before you go with your question, I want to know, and probably not because the beat reporters are so obsessed with themselves, and Joe obviously will take part in this. I wonder if they asked him about, hey, listen, how do you feel about that Houston series? Do you think you need more players at the deadline? I don't know that they asked him that. I don't think they did, but that's why Enron.
It would have been if we would have heard the answer, Alex. So they clearly didn't ask that. It was all about the Aaron Judge stuff because it was all close to the negotiation period and that stuff. So, A, this is for you guys for the chat. Do you think Hal doubled down his stance on where things were?
Yeah. I definitely think so. I mean,
and B, do you think Hal would have been foolish to say that, like, I kind of was wrong? Like, do you think Hal would have been stupid to say he admitted he was wrong, like, in a certain fashion? Like, to say, well, I was wrong with my offer, but I'll negotiate in better faith next time. Do you think that would have been possible?
He's wrong, but the problem is that even with this organization, and this is why I don't believe in too much things yet. Listen, it's great that I say this all the time. We'll say it on Twin Bill on Wednesday eventually, but it's great that this, we have this great record. It's great that we're talking about construction. We're talking about playoffs. Okay. Obviously the Yankees have finagled through some of these, Joey Gallo struggles and Aaron Hicks struggles and whatever. But when you have this lineup isn't going to get past anything in terms of good pitching in the playoffs. You may see them, because I'm thinking about this now, and I don't want to say this too. The Orioles, I don't think will be a problem with us. For us, if they get a wild card spot. But I think there could be some challenge there. But
remember, it's a 3-game set, guys.
3-game set, which I didn't even know about. I forgot about the wild card.
It was because of the whole negotiations with the MLB and WBA.
But with that being said, if they get back, if the Red Sox get back Chris Sale, and if they get back Evaldi, and if they keep Whitlock in the rotation, which I don't know if they're going to do, but if they do that, and we have our guys, and we don't make any improvements, it's going to be a tough time going past Boston, where everybody's laughing now, and I'm saying this is a warning shot. I want to beat Boston every single time we face them. Fuck Boston, but let's be real. Everybody's excited about now, but we got to brace ourselves for the playoffs because that's what Yankee fans, in my opinion, should do. What was I going to say? Joe had a couple of comments. Then I'll obviously ask your thoughts on my thoughts, of course. You didn't know why they didn't ask him.
He doesn't watch games. Yeah.
He doesn't watch the games. I'd bet any amount of money Hal hasn't watched a game in years. Yeah, he's probably getting BJs in his SUV.
I don't know how...
The Astros.
I am not going to comment.
Left, so I say Houston ends the season with a better record than the Yankees.
It's possible. It's possible. The Yankees have not hit a dirt bumpy road yet, so that's in the wings. But I will also say, I don't know.
This month has been kind of. There's been some catastrophic losses this month.
And luckily, we're before the All-Star break, so we get that break. But I was also going to say, I don't know who I like hearing. I don't know who I dislike hearing more talk. Hal Steinbrenner or Woody and Woody and Chris Johnson. I'll just leave it at that. But also, you guys didn't bring up this loss. How about Saturday night? We're up 5-3. Aaron Judge gives us a double in the 11th inning or 10th inning, whatever, and we still lose the game because of Wandy Peralta. And Alex mentioned the double play with Donaldson. That could have been. How do you lose? You were up by 2. This is supposed to be like a good bullpen. You can't lose those games. You can't.
That's what I'm saying. We've suffered some bad losses this month. We had the no-hitter. We had the Astros game we went to. That was ugly. The first Pirate game, that was ugly as hell. We couldn't do anything. And then these 2 games against the Red Sox, dreadful losses, catastrophic meltdowns from the bullpen. There are issues here. It's amazing to me that we've won the percentage of games that we've won when we've got glaring issues. I feel certainly in the outfield. Certainly, we need an outfielder, and I think we need a bullpen arm, unless Marinaccio gets healthy pretty soon. But even still, I think we probably need a bullpen arm because we're not going to fix Chapman. Chapman's unfixable.
My problem.
I mean, Loaizaga could come back, but he wasn't great when he was healthy earlier this year, and then we've got Zach Britton due back, so we'll wait and see on that. But we definitely need some help in starting rotation as well.
Joe's got a good point. I'll also read Tony's comment. But my problem with the bullpen is there's overcrowding. You could bring in as many arms as possible. You could bring in Barlow. You could bring in Fulmer. You could bring in all these guys. But the problem is you're going to have possibly Britton coming back. Chapman's still here. They're not going to do anything with him. Loaizaga, I mean, is he going to be the same? Domingo Germán. So you have a bunch of guys. You don't know you don't know how to balance the time. So that's going to lead to possibly, if the Yankees take this route, a couple of insufficient roles. Like, oh my God, because we saw Clay Holmes in the 8th inning getting, what was it, a 4-out save. But what if for some reason Chapman pitches a 9th inning? What if Holmes is off one day, and let's just say they use him 2 straight games in a row, and in a 5-3 game, who are you going to in that situation? You got to balance it out. And
exactly,
I think a lot of the reason why Jonathan Loaizaga, besides injury, wasn't pitching well is because he didn't have a confined role in the bullpen. Tony says the Orioles can be possibly 4th place team in the East. Imagine that the Blue Jays finish last. It's quite possible now. Yeah, they're in a very dark place. But of course,
it's a wild division.
Yeah,
it is
very wild. I think we hit a bump in the road, bunch of dumb losses and exposures. It's a good thing because we still won a lot of games and know what we need. And that's one of the things as well. And I obviously want to focus on shit one at a time. But I've seen a lot of Yankees Twitter. And obviously, they don't have impact on moves, but in my opinion, and I kind of agree, in unison with the NY News TV team on this. You either call up Peraza, you trade Peraza. You call up Florial, you trade Florial. You cannot go in between because that will go down the line of as many wasted projects as Brian Cashman has had, and we can't be sitting here, saying, we can't trade Peraza for a rental. Go ahead. Okay, you want to say rental? Go ahead and sign Benintendi to a long-term contract, whether it's 3 years, how many years you want to put on it. He's not going to cost that much. Okay. Trade Peraza. First of all, let me say this. We wouldn't be worrying about shortstop if it wasn't taken care of in the offseason. I'm sorry. I know this is, the Yankees are up this many games in the division. But we wouldn't be worrying about Peraza and Volpe and all these guys if shortstop had been fixed in the offseason. If you take a look at this season, to be specific, and this is just the truth, you look at that, besides Trevino, a bunch of non-moves. That's what has been the ultimate savior for the Yankees, Aaron Judge, and the pitching. Am I wrong?
And Aaron Boone becoming a better manager, in my opinion, but I think he still has some bumps in the road, too. Everybody's entitled to that.
And obviously give it to somebody else after this. But with Yankees Twitter reacting like the way they are, that's whatever. I'll fight with people on there. But if the Yankees are hesitant to give up top prospects for much improved, much needed reinforcements like Luis Castillo, you could go out and find a bullshit arm in your bullpen, and maybe Matt Blake will fix it. Clay Holmes, you can think of the names, right? Scott Barlow, some of the guys from Pittsburgh. There's some names there, okay? But if
he mentioned Bednar.
He's really good. He's an all-star now.
But if you don't get Benintendi, you don't get Ian Happ, you don't get a guy like Luis Castillo. And what's something we didn't talk about, Jamison Tyon's blow-up, 6 total runs. They didn't take him out of the game last night. They didn't take him out of the game, blow-up. So if you don't get the much needed reinforcements, it's going to be troubling to not criticize.
Not only that, Alex, Houston, Toronto, Boston, you think of the teams, the Mets will all be contending for them. Do you want that? Do you want other teams to pick up your guys that you want, but you're obviously hesitant to trade these prospects? Do you want Houston getting an Andrew Benintendi? Do you want Houston to maybe get one of the starters? You don't. Because, they have a tendency to dominate the deadline. They went after Zach Greinke how many years ago? They went after Justin Verlander and gave up what they got.
Verlander, exactly.
Exactly. That's probably the most important
the Cubs went
trade.
And got Aroldis Chapman when he was good.
Exactly. Yeah. Teams will go the extra mile. Will the Yankees do that?
Yeah.
Let me just say, I don't want to interrupt Alex, but Giants are in a free fall right now. Are you or are you not calling up the Giants for Carlos Rodon? He's had a good season.
I honestly, I don't see an issue with it, but there's a couple of things. Okay, I'm gonna break it down in just 1 second. I think there was a point I was gonna go off of, but also I don't want to make these. I don't want to accept these moves as a fan base. Like for instance, there has been talks between the Royals and the Yankees regarding Benintendi and possibly Gallo. Those are rumors in the air. But there's been talks also about Michael A. Taylor, one of their other outfielders. I wouldn't mind him, but that can't be a move. That can't be the only move, I should say. Because if Taylor could be good as like a fourth outfielder, center fielder when Judge needs a rest in his legs and his lower body, but he's going to have to fight time with Hicks or you're keeping 5 outfielders, whatever the fuck you're doing. So I don't want to be saying, oh, well, Michael A. Taylor, that's the deadline move for the Yankees. They have to dominate. They have to give up these pieces. And in terms of Rodon, I kind of wanted him in the offseason, but the fact that he hasn't played a full season kind of scares me just a tad bit. We have a fourth outfielder, Aaron Hicks. Right. So would you actually be willing to take on Taylor? That's one of the things as well. Ian Happ is my top choice, Rob says. Okay. I know a lot of people like Happ. I know some people don't like Happ. But
my top choice would probably be Brian Reynolds. If not Reynolds, then we'd move on to Benintendi. We've already discussing Benintendi.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of teams interested. I think he's going to go either just before or just after the All-Star break. Most likely just after. He'd be my second choice, third choice. But I mean, all three, any of the three, is a huge upgrade. So I would be happy with any of the three. It would be important, really important. We need to take that extra step. We're not complaining right now. Anyone who's like maybe Sox Arizona or anyone who's not necessarily a Yankee fan watching us right now, we are not complaining. We're aware of how good we are, but we need to take that extra step to make sure that we are going to be what we are in October. This is a special team. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't know this is a special team. There's only a couple of things to worry about. One extra outfielder, probably one arm, and this team is ready to take on Houston, ready to beat Boston. But if we leave it as it is, there's every chance that in a series they can beat us. There's every chance that even when we do strengthen, which I do think we will, there's every chance anything can happen in October. We know that, but this would certainly stand us in better stead, for sure.
How about another pitching option? I know this has been mentioned. Noah Syndergaard.
I wouldn't mind him, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's like Juan Soto-ish territory.
Why is that? Just asking. For the ask? For the ask? Remember, he was signed on a 1-year contract, so he's essentially
I know he was signed on a 1-year contract, but it's just I wouldn't say totally the ask. He makes too much money. That's one of the Jets Smith doesn't make a point. I think he's like $34 million a year or something like that.
No. He's like $20 million. Remember, they gave him $20 million fresh right off the Tommy John.
Okay, well, there's that, and
that's what they did. That's what the Astros did to Verlander. Eventually, Verlander's pitching well.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but there's that, and there's also the ask, and Joe says he'll be an Astro, which if the ask is good enough, they will trade in division. If not, then they'll give him to some other team. But we'll see. Rob says call up Oakland, get a package together from Montas and Laureano.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. And
yes, Rob.
Rob's nailed it. Tremendous
I want Montas. I want all of Montas. Give me all of Montas.
And Laureano's got speed. He's got an arm. He's got good range.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny, though, is like a lot of people were ripping Alex Rodriguez last year because he said the same thing. Go get Ramon Laureano. But they went.
But no, we got Joey Gallo. That's all right, everybody.
Yeah. A-Rod called that Joey Gallo wasn't going to work in New York.
A lot of people did.
Who's laughing now?
But we're rooting against.
He's not as stupid as he looks. He's pretty freaking smart. He's a baseball savant, man. I would trust him.
I would trust him as well. But unfortunately, we are where we are, I should say. And what I would say about these prospects always is, in terms of shortstop at least, because I know that's a big concern for everybody, IKF, this, that, and the other thing, whatever. Trey Turner's a free agent next year. I know.
So is Carlos Correa. He might opt out, if he does.
Okay. So there's two options.
I want Correa so bad.
Bogarts too. Alexander Bogarts is also a free agent.
He's awesome. He's really good.
Bogarts is a free agent. Dansby Swanson's probably like a 3B option. I know he's having a really good year, but those are proven players. Why? And yes, they come at an expense because they're proven players. Meanwhile, you have Peraza, who we don't even know is going to be great. He could be Rob Refsnyder. He could be Derek Jeter. Same thing with Volpe. I mean, hell, it was only till this hot streak that they started getting hot. They're the first, how many months of the season? They were stone fucking cold. And once again, with position players, the Yankees really haven't been that good. With pitching, it's a different story. And we'll see what the ask is for at the deadline. Joe says...
I agree with the NYY News crew. I think Peraza should be playing. His defense is already Major League ready. It was already Major League ready at the start of the year. Now, what are we paying IKF to do? His defense primarily. So, when you consider that, what's Peraza going to offer that, which is worse than what IKF has been providing? I mean, I think IKF is a utility player, and we're playing him as an everyday shortstop.
Right.
I think IKF would be perfect in a utility role between third base and shortstop once or twice a week. I'm not saying I dislike IKF. I think I like the fire that IKF provides. I think he's been probably good in the locker room, and he's been fine, but he hasn't been what I expected. I thought his defense would be a hell of a lot better than it's been. I've been very disappointed in his defense. As the statistics show, he's a fourth worst fielding percentage, which is shocking to me. That's not why we brought him here. But he's not been bad. I don't want to say that he's been bad. He's just not been what I expected. His bat has been, it's been okay. It's pretty much he's a singles hitter. So when you got Peraza, who is one of our top prospects, his defense is Major League ready. Let's give him a try. Let's call him up. I mean, what's he going to do? This is worse than what IKF has been doing defensively. It's not going to be worse. It's probably going to be better. So I just don't see why you're wasting these prospects. As you say, if you dip your toes in the water but you don't go all the way in, you're kind of half pregnant, you're not going to get the results that you need. You have to kind of shit or get off the pan. It's a really good way of saying it.
I agree 100%.
In a platoon role with Marwin? Jesus Christ. I do agree. And I thought they should have played Marwin a little bit more during his hot streak because he was hitting some really nice balls into the seats. I think one was, I forget, can't remember the game he went deep, but it was a couple of them. So Juan Soto in the Derby, he joins Albert Pujols, who's going to be in the Derby.
Pujols is doing it?
Pujols is doing it. Yep. I think that's a lot because of this new thing with the
legends.
The legends. So Miguel
Can
Cabrera,
I just mention, we've kind of got a glut of infielders. We've got Carpenter, who needs to be playing every day. We've got Torres, who needs to be playing every day. We've got LeMahieu, who needs to be playing every day. Then you got Rizzo, who needs to be playing every day. How are we going to fit all these guys in when you know we're going to be playing Donaldson every day? And we're playing IKF every day. We've kind of got a glut of infielders here. It's slightly odd when we don't have enough outfielders. We've got a ton of infielders who all should probably be playing on an everyday basis, apart from IKF.
Yeah. But I up to this point, I know Stanton's thinking about it. It's not confirmed, but I don't know that I would want that. For entertainment purposes, yes. I don't know that I would want Stanton in the home run derby. Pujols is doing it. Soto is doing it. Acuna's doing it. I heard that one.
Pete.
So, who?
Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso's doing it again. I think he won last year. So there's going to be a lot of names, a lot of popular names. Blue City says if Aaron Judge does leave, then Anthony Volpe the next guy.
That's a lot of shoes to put on. That's very tall size shoes.
I
like Volpe, but that is a tough. I'm not saying he can't do it, but that's with the pressure of him being just a shortstop, coming into the big leagues alone. That's some. You know what? So everybody brings it up on our NYW News TV cast. Rizzo could opt out if Judge, leaves. He is in that. I'm not surprised.
So, and what makes things easier is a lot of money off the books next year. Chapman, Britt, Monty. I think is a free agent after next year.
So is Tyone.
Tyone's
a free agent next year.
A couple of days are free agents, and I don't.
Where are you guys on Tyone's contract next year? Because he's given up 20 earned runs in about 20 innings. Does that change
He's also given up the most extra base hits out of any pitcher. So I'm gonna say no. Send him out of here.
Really? Okay, but he was kind of having an all-star year prior to these last 20 innings.
Well, you could really say that about any pitcher on this ball club. I think everybody else has came back down to earth, and I think the worst suffering is Tyone. Like, Severino's doing his thing. Cortez, I expected more out of Tyone a little bit, but so yeah, he's basically a James Paxton experiment. I guess you can make that argument.
I would say he's better than Paxton, but not by much. No, well, I mean, he's got the record, but last a couple of outings, he's had like a.
When you allow the most extra base hits, I can't really be in favor of, I really can't be in favor of much signing you.
Joe says 2 years is enough. We need Miguel Andujar to be in the Yankees lineup permanently. I agree, but
well, now that we're giving Mark, let's take this opportunity to talk about Matt Carpenter. What he's doing is unbelievable, and it's lessening the need to call up Andujar because Carpenter has been fantastic, and we've been playing him in left field occasionally too.
That's a good point.
I agree.
That is a good point, but I do like my Andujar. Just going to put it out there. Andujar gives you the good at-bats. I wouldn't say he's powered, but he's going to put the bat on the ball. He's not too much of a power guy, but he's the guy who's going to hit a lot of doubles, in my opinion. Because I think he was one of the league leaders or something along those lines in doubles in his rookie year where he really went off. But Carpenter's the guy that just gives you a lot of power, but he also gives you very good at-bats.
Terrific at-bats. He's been fantastic, man. His comeback story is going to be a movie, man. It really should be.
Lucy says, I'm hearing rumors that the Yankees are going to trade Gallo. The Royals, there's been talks, but...
John Heyman also mentioned the Padres and the Rangers as suitors. His old team...
the Rangers. Back. Imagine they pulled off a heist and getting 5 prospects for us. I think they're going to take them back for nothing. I could see that. I could totally see that.
The word by Baltimore Orioles fans that the Orioles will trade Mancini, then fans are going to burn down the warehouse. I wouldn't trade Mancini.
You're on a good he's a part of the he's a part of the core right now. I don't know why they would trade him. I don't know what his stats are. I don't know how he's doing. Yeah, but again, they keep building among that nice core. I know they're trying to get off the end of the rebuild, but they're having a very nice season. Mancini, 284, 8 home runs, 35 RBIs. Just off the look of that's nice stats. Okay. See, I was going to mention this in I was going to mention Tony's comment in what I was going to go over next after the Yankee segment because I have a whole MLB segment, I have a whole Mets segment too. With Whit Merrifield sitting out today and breaking his consecutive games played streak at 553 games. He has not missed a game since 2018. The new Iron Man is Paul Goldschmidt at 271 with the streak.
553. I mean, let's take this opportunity to give Whit Merrifield a round of applause, man. That is awesome. That's a big fuck you to the analytics people who believe that they need to rest everybody like freaking twice a week. He's like, no, fuck you guys. I'm going to play every day for the next 4 years on this shitty team who wins like 60 games a year, and he still plays every single game. So, big shout out to Whit Merrifield, man. That's like old school right there.
Just remember,
that's an old school motherfucker right there.
Just remember, everybody, there used to be players who would play all 162 games. Now you don't see that anymore.
Yep.
Now I don't remember where. Okay, here's my question that I will send out to you guys before we go into more MLB. Pete thinks that Pete actually has a lot of faith in Brian Cashman to pull off some stunts at this deadline. From a 1 to 10 level, how confident are you? I'm not as confident as Pete is. I'll let Donald go, and then Luca go, and then me go.
I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to do something. The fact that we're already hearing, and it was already on the ESPN telecast, that the Yankees are discussing a trade with the Royals for Benintendi, says to me that we're probably pretty serious in negotiations. I don't think it would have reached the telecast if it was just minor rumors. Obviously, we are seriously discussing it. Whether we get him or not, I think that we are locked in on an outfielder. I'm not 100 on starting rotation. I'm less certain on starting rotation. I do believe we're going to get an outfielder. I do believe we're going to trade Joey Gallo. So I'm going to put my confidence at I'm going to go 8. I'm going to go with an 8.
Okay.
8.5. I'm going to say as close to very, very sure as I can.
Okay. Before Luca goes, shout out to my man Wales. He's always he's always on the Leather to the Face podcast with Lou, G Nation, Inside Sports, and Big Pat. So tune into that usually on Saturdays. But he said, "What's up, Alex? What do you think of Don LaGreca's rant today?" I haven't listened to the full thing, so I'm actually going to.
I stopped listening after Don LaGreca said Joey Gallo's not hurting the team.
Oh.
I will play the rant after I have Luca give his thoughts, because I do want to listen to the full thing before I make an analysis. But Luca,
I could always bookmark it, and Alex and I could show it. But I'll say a 6 or a 7. I still need that confidence that Cashman's going to go off his prospects, his big prospect high, and give up those guys. That's why I have the low confidence. Like, I think he knows inside that he's got to make the moves, but also I don't have the confidence that he's going to give up the prospects. That's just me, in my opinion. He's got to prove it to me.
I don't think it's going to cost a Peraza to get Benintendi.
Oh, Benintendi? That's not a big deal. But if he's going after a guy like Castillo or let's just say he wants the big fish in Brian Reynolds, that's going to cost.
That's where I'm less sure. I think we'll get a Benintendi or a Hap. I'm fairly confident of that.
Let me just say this: do you support a third reunion with David Robertson as a reliever? He's pitching very well this year for the Cubs.
Yeah, I've always liked David Robertson. I have no issue with David Robertson. I think he's proven he can pitch in the bright lights at Yankee Stadium. He's pretty much undaunted by the occasion. Sure, why not? I think
it's still kind of cool. I think it's still kind of cool he's in the league. Because, when I started watching baseball, he was like one of the setup men for the Yankees. He's still pitching now is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, you can get relievers fairly cheap, man. Like, it's not going to cost much.
That's not my problem.
Yeah.
The relievers, it's the starting pitching. If also the big prized outfielders. Alex, you wanted to do something?
Yeah, I'm going to showcase the Don LaGreca rant. His blood pressure was up there.
He's honestly a buffoon nowadays. I'm sorry. Just let me say that before the
Yankees are going to move Joey Gallo at the deadline. That I'm sure of Yankee clap.
Yeah, but that's not that's 100%. But my point is, Don's rants are very forced, in my opinion. Like, they've became forced. So, Alex, please showcase whenever you want.
Yankee Kyle, shout out to Yankee Kyle. He always shares out the NYY News TV stuff. Joe, what are the Yankees going to do with Joey Gallo at the deadline? I think they'll trade him. Yankees have 87 shortstop prospects. It's time to move on. move one or two players that will help us. Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct, Rob. Absolutely correct. By the way, guys, I just want to remind everybody: hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share out, turn on that notification bell as well. And by the way, I also have the Pinstripe Chronicles YouTube channel in the description. So obviously, Donald down here and Rob do a great job with tats as usual. So they usually record early in the morning and get those podcasts out for you guys.
I'm still campaigning for Rob to become the new host for the Pinstripe Chronicles. But
Why? Because Tats misspelled Pittsburgh?
that pissed me off, but just in general, Rob kills it every time he hosts. So anybody who's watching, go check us out at the Pinstripe Chronicles. Be much appreciated. Good content, 5 days a week. We're on Roku and stuff like that. So
Facebook Live,
yeah, check us out.
Right, so I'm gonna get this video going. Of course, StreamYard is gonna be an asshole. StreamYard is gonna be a.
Why don't I
asshole.
just do it?
I have it. I'm actually gonna play it over the screen, so it's gonna be playing there. 2 comments. The Yankees should have kept Greg Allen. He was the Red Sox kryptonite.
Yes, the legend of Greg Allen.
The legend of Greg Allen. I'm going to show this one more. I'm going to try this one more time, and then if not, I will let Luca handle it because I want to display it over the actual screen rather than just pull it up and it looks like friggin', Just give me 1 second. Download this thing for not customize. There we go.
Alex being the technician.
Yes, I'm being a technician right now. Everyone, please be. Your patience is very.
What is even happening here?
I'm downloading the video rather than just.
Bookmarking it.
We need some interlude. You need some music here for the interlude.
Is the Jeopardy theme song, Donald?
Jeopardy.
Donald is Leon Rose's best friend.
We have a whole.
That's gonna be an exciting topic. Yankees are the team to beat. I wouldn't say so yet, but that's going to be an exciting topic. I actually can't wait to talk Knicks.
Am I Leon Rose's best friend?
No, I wouldn't say so.
I wouldn't say so.
Video is processing, but also the Baker Mayfield stuff we got to get to because a lot of people say, no, the Panthers going to be good. I don't think so. It's taken like a century. Luca, you got to love Grimes shining, dining.
He's playing his ass off in the summer league. I got to give him full props.
Okay.
That's gonna be a whole debate later on. If we're gonna debate whether Fournier or Reddish or Quickly or Grimes deserves to start. We'll get into that.
Okay.
That's obviously gonna be a little
apparently
later on.
this video is 6 minutes long. I don't think it's actually. Okay.
Oh come on! I don't think it's 6 minutes long. I got the yes clip. That's like hold on.
I got it. So anyway,
it is 6 minutes long. You're right.
I'll stop.
Good, because I was just about to start spreading the news, New York, in a minute. So
if it does get to any irrelevant stuff, I will stop it. Okay. So here we are, Don's rant, and we're going to reveal our thoughts and see if there are any salient points made.
All right, let's go to Mike in Manalapan. What's up, Mike?
Hey guys, how you doing?
What's up?
Not much. I was originally calling in to talk about the Michael and A-Rod thing, but then Don, you made, one of the most moronic comments.
Oh no!
I've ever heard.
All right, that's bold. Go ahead.
And it actually proves why you two would fail if Michael wasn't part of the show.
Oh no!
Your comment about Joey Gallo, and I'm a Mets fan, saying why are they offended by him? Because he bats 160. They're not. Whenever they play against good teams, Don, you need everybody in the lineup to contribute. So when he fails and strikes out, doesn't get a sac fly in the playoffs.
All right, well,
every out matters in the playoffs.
But are we in the playoffs? Are we? Do you really honestly think? Wait a minute. No. Wait, I got to defend myself. You called me out as being basically a loser. I should be allowed to defend myself.
I'm putting him on hold because he can't be quiet.
Because I don't want to disconnect them. We can interact. Get him off hold.
Okay.
No. Are we in the playoffs yet? How has Joey Gallo hurt this team? We're not in the playoffs yet. Do you really think Joey Gallo is going to get at bats in the playoffs? Do you really think? Come on. Do you really think he's going to be allowed to hurt the Yankees in the postseason?
They haven't even made a trade. But your comment was, why are they offended by him? Because he stinks.
All right, but so he stinks, but he's not hurting you. So why are you complaining? You've got the best team in baseball, and all they want to do is complain about Joey Gallo.
They don't beat any good teams. American League stinks, John. Don't be foolish. Don't be.
Well, I'm asking you a question. How has he hurt the Yankees? They've got the best record in baseball. They're off to their third best start in franchise history. Wait a minute. You basically said I said something moronic, that I have no career without Michael Kay. So let me ask you, how has he hurt the team?
Don, he bats 160, automatic out in the lineup.
All right. How has he hurt them?
Okay.
How has he hurt them?
So they've been playing.
You're not answering my question. How has he hurt them?
Yes. What would their record be?
Yeah. What would their record be if he wasn't on the team?
Don, you sound pre-K. He makes outs, Don. That's how.
But you're not answering my question. They've got the best. They've got a 14-game lead in the division, yo. They've got a 14-game lead in the division. How is he hurting them? How is he hurting them? He's an automatic out. I agree. He gets on base 16% of the time. That's basically, or he gets a hit 16% of the time. How is he hurting them? They're 100 games above 500. They've got a 14-game lead in the division. How is he hurting the Yankees? And I guarantee you, on the souls of my children, he will not be on this team in the postseason if he continues hitting the way he's hitting. So how is he hurting them? How?
So he is hurting the team. If he wasn't, then he would be on the playoffs, Don.
No, he's playing well. You
sound foolish because you don't answer. First of all, here's why you're a fool. You can't answer questions because I asked you 17 times. You haven't been able to give up with any kind of comprehensive answer on why he's hurting the team. Plus, I told you why he's in the lineup because he's a great fielder. You don't think fielding helps you win? Does fielding help you win? Does fielding help you win? That's 3 times. Does fielding help you win? 4 times I've asked. Does fielding help you win? 5 times. All right. So on the 5th time, you finally answer the question. All right. So how is he hurting them when they've got the best record in baseball and off to the 3rd best start in the history of a franchise that does nothing but finish above 500? How is he hurting them? He's not. But I agree with you. Come postseason time, he's going to kill him. And guess what? He's going to be gone. They're already planning the exit strategy now. So how am I a moron?
Don, when the guy comes back,
I guess every answer's Don.
Ask him how he's hurting him. Ask him how he's hurting him, and he'll have the same response I do. He stinks, and he's an automatic out.
Right. Okay. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Foolish.
But he's not hurting them at all. And he's not hurting them at all.
He's an out.
But hold on.
So what? There's going to be 27 outs. He can't make all of them. And they're still, how are they so good? What's their record without him? How can they have a better record than what they have?
Oh, my gosh. Don,
oh, my God, to you.
Some of your comments are...
No. You have no comments. I'm at least answering your question. All you say is Don. I know my name is Don. How is he hurting them?
The question... He gets an out every time.
But it's not hurting them. It's not hurting them. If he bats 0, the team is 40 games above 500. But you really think he's going to be on this team in the playoffs? Do you really believe he's going to be batting 160 and starting in the outfield and batting 6th for the Yankees in the postseason? Do you really think so?
So, Don, if they had a guy batting 300 in his spot, they'd be 25 games up. That's how he's hurting him.
Oh, my God.
You think so?
So that's what you need to do. Oh, stop with your Michael Kay. I'm on the air. I worked at the Fan before Michael Kay. I do Ranger games without Michael Kay. 16 years doing pre and post for the Jets. Guess what? No Michael Kay. I got a podcast that's in the top 50 in every country on the planet. No Michael Kay. I've got 2 kids. I've got a wife. 17 years. I'll be married to her in September. Guess what? No Michael Kay. I've got hair that people would die to have. Michael Kay, nothing. I'm a fabulous driver. Michael Kay's got nothing to do with it. I'm one of the best friends you could ever have in your life. 0 to do with Michael Kay. Do not ever say to me, you wouldn't have the guts to say it to my face, Michael Kay's got nothing to do with what I am and who I am. I can work with Michael Kay. I can work without Michael Kay. You better bring it. You ask me questions, I answer them. I ask you questions, you say, Don. That's what Cuber was saying when I was tripping on meth in 84. Play it, Don. Kept looking behind me, thought something was going on.
I hate you. You know what? Let's take a break.
All right, so I will say I'll put my thoughts in. I'll get Lucas' thoughts in. I know
No,
there was a
Donald can go before me. I'll be honest. I'll let
Okay.
Donald go. I'll be.
All right.
We need that GIF. We need that Anchorman GIF. That escalated quickly. That's exactly what we need right now.
Luca, maybe if you wanna get that GIF ready, maybe.
That's exactly what we need right now.
So obviously got a whole bunch of comments. Thanks to Santa Claus wilding out. I thought that was funny. A lot of people reacting.
It was a thriller. MH is right. It was a thriller.
So here's what I'll say. I don't necessarily like that show anymore, but I think I think on both sides, the caller was repeating himself, and so was Don. He would say that they would be 25 games over 500 if Joey Gallo was on the team. I can't say that, though. I can't say Joey Gallo hurts this team, but it's not like he's affecting where they are right now. That's where I think you can say bottom line, you're wrong for this, you're wrong for that. Whatever you want. I know Luca will have some comments, of course, but what I'm saying is he's hurting this team. There is that 5% luck that he could be on this team past the deadline. However, with that being said, I think he's hurting the team once again, but it's not going to affect that, where they are. Shouts to Braves fan. Wow, MH and a Braves fan in the same chat, man. Braves fan, how do you feel that you're getting closer to the Mets day by day? Don, your thoughts?
I think that they were arguing semantics. That's what I'm thinking. And I mean, first of all, when you say something as dumb as Don wouldn't have a career without Mike OK, you're gonna get eaten alive for that. It is a dumb thing to say. I mean, the guy is the Ranger. He is the Ranger commentator.
He's actually kind of back. I think he's backup. I'm not sure because Kenny Albert might do radio. I don't know.
No. He does the commentary anyway. Don LaGreca for the Rangers. So you don't do that by accident. So I think it was kind of a dumb thing to say and semi-insulting. And if anyone of the three of them, Don tends to bring it every day. So I don't really dislike Don LaGreca, even though he's a Met fan. Yes, he goes off the handle, and yes, I think he does force some of those rants. I think that became a little bit bizarre, like when he was like screaming that he's not does all this without Michael K. I'm the best friend you could ever have.
That's probably my least favorite part of what he said. You know what?
That was just odd. Like, okay, man.
Why do you got to say that? We understand. We got the point.
Yeah, we get it, man. We get it. So, like, he started off making sense. Like, okay, well, I'm doing the Rangers and I'm doing the pre and post for the Jets. He's a Giant fan. All this stuff. And then start bringing in his family and his kids. And I'm a great father and I'm a great driver. Dude, I don't give a fuck how you drive. All right? So it's like, it was just really odd.
Why do we care?
So it was really odd. I just think that he just kind of lost his mind, which he tends to do.
MH says that's like if I told Alex he needs Luca to get the show views like wild comment for real.
Yeah,
I also don't.
It was a wild comment, and it put Don off the handle. But really, the heart of the actual conversation was semantics. It was like, okay, he's not outwardly hurting our record, but he is hurting us because he's batting 160 and he's not even fielded particularly well in left field. He's played fine right field, but left field fairly average to below average. Offensively terrible, apart from a week or two here and there. In fact, over the course of the year, he's been one of the least productive players in all of baseball, I believe in the bottom three. So as you made the right point there, Alex, it's like, yeah, they're kind of arguing semantics. It's kind of like, he's not outwardly hurting a record because there's no guarantee that even if we had Benintendi playing left field that we'd have a better record. But he's still been one of the worst players in baseball. So I think both are right, but Don didn't really need to go off his freaking head. That was bizarre, but I think a lot of it was because of the wild comment that they just put him insane. Sorry, Alex.
It's all right. I want to get to something real quick. 2 comments, actually, before I say something, and then Luca goes. Don was stone cold and Hogan on that promo. That's like saying J.D. Davis is losing the Mets games. He gets, as Wales says, he gets a lot of shit from people saying he's nothing without K. He's always defending himself in that department. No, I mean, we're even I don't necessarily like that show anymore. He has his own career. You know, he does. I know he was doing his stuff with his brother for a little bit. You know, he obviously was doing Jets pregame for a little bit. The Rangers stuff. I mean, those are still some pretty big departments into. So, you know, saying that he'd be nothing, would he be on the show without Michael K? I don't know. I don't know how that even ended up. I mean, hell, I'm gonna be real here. I'm gonna say it. Peter Rosenberg should be the least one on that show.
There we go.
Because I'm just saying facts here, because he has nothing other than pop culture. He has nothing to do with that show. Literally,
he has no knowledge about sports.
No,
he has even less knowledge about New York sports. He hates New York sports. What is he doing on the New York sports show?
He's a Washington fan. He's
a Celtics fan.
You say he's a Celtics fan. I don't know what he is in baseball.
Orioles.
So it's like the pop Orioles. Okay, DC.
He doesn't even watch baseball. He doesn't like it.
It's like, once again, pop culture. But Don, what I could say about him is he comes to the table prepared. Yes, sometimes I don't like what he says about the Yankees, but he will try to back it up. Meanwhile, Peter's just sitting there. Oh, well, you know, trying to make comments on all this shit just to be funny.
All Pete does is eat food and look at his Twitter all show. Like, he doesn't do anything. And then try and change the show to some sort of pop culture reference or wrestling reference. That's all he does in the show. I don't know what he is doing on a New York sports show talking. Well, it's primarily Yankee talk because Michael Kay is the freaking Yankee announcer. He hates the Yankees. He doesn't even like baseball.
Exactly.
It's really freaking strange. Now, Dalton LaGreca hates the Yankees too, but he knows baseball. You know?
Yeah.
He's also brilliant football mind. He knows football. He kept shouting, for 40 years I've been watching football. So he knows football. Peter Rosenberg doesn't watch any sports. He doesn't care. Oh, God, Peter Rosenberg's so obnoxious.
Get Iron Eagle in there. I don't know that would definitely fit, but Iron Eagle's pretty good at his craft. Remember that old guy from South called in and gave him shit? That was just
I think that was Peter
North Carolina. I remember that. Yeah, he gave him shit because he said basically, you know,
he doesn't like Peter and all this different stuff.
Yeah, agree, mate, 100%. And they make fun of him for it. We'll say Joe says Mets fan. MH says Rosenberg is useless. Luca, your thoughts?
Again, I gotta agree with Donald. You know, when Donnie completely went off his head, I'm a great driver, all this different stuff. Like, we got it, dude. We got it. Like, you don't there's at some point where you gotta cut off and say, okay, I gotta calm myself down. You want to mention your career, fine. Like what you do as the Rangers guy, when you were on Jets pregame and postgame for how many years, fine. When you go off and talk about your family and being a great driver, like, nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares. And I also don't like how that caller said the Yankees didn't beat good teams. That's some bullshit.
Yeah, that was some bullshit.
Yeah.
I didn't like the caller much, and
No,
Don just lost his mind.
Yeah. How much dirt can you kick on a grave for real? Got a point. What was I going to say? There was someone I was going to say, and now I completely forgot.
Of course, Alex forgets what he's saying.
Yeah, shut up. If you want to go into some of our more MLB topics.
So, it's time to reveal the all-star roster. Alex, you want me to share the screen?
I'll go ahead.
All right, so we are looking at – so the Mets have 4 all-stars. I'm going to reveal them right now. Starling Marte, Pete Alonso, Edwin Diaz, and Jeff McNeil. So the Yankees, it is Garrett Cole. It is Jose Trevino. It is Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Clay Holmes, and who else am I missing? Stanton, Judge, Trevino, Cole, Stanton, Judge, Trevino, Cole.
I've got the roster here, man. So first base is Guerrero, catcher is Alejandro Kirk, Second base, Altuve, F. Altuve. Third base, Devers. Shortstop, Tim Anderson. Your favorites. Outfield, Trout. Outfield, Judge. Outfield, Stanton. Let's go, Big G. DH, Ohtani.
Those are your
and
starting
then,
guys.
And then the starting pitchers.
Was it
Well, the
Nestor?
pitchers for the American League is Paul Blackburn, Emmanuel Class, Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortez, Clay Holmes, Jorge Lopez, Alec Manoah, Shane McClanahan, Shohei Ohtani, Martin Perez, Gregory Soto, Framber Valdez, Justin Verlander.
I don't like that Yordan Alvarez was not the DH. Even though he's injured, MLB did that because of optics. It's all optics just to put Ohtani on the DH. Yordan Alvarez is having an insane year.
By the way, what I was going to mention before, now I don't know if this is a clickbait title. I don't know because I don't watch his videos. I know our former co-host watches his videos. Is like obsessed with him. But apparently Zach Campbell made a title of one of his videos basically ripping the Yankees for throwing gum on the field.
What's that?
I said apparently, I don't know if this was the real subject of the video because you know how some of these 300K subscriber guys have clickbait subjects and clickbait videos, but Zach Campbell, I think, in one of his titles went after the Yankees for throwing gum on the field. Remember they were throwing it in that one pile that game? Went after them for it, apparently.
Who cares?
If you don't like that, don't go to the games.
That guy goes to every fucking game.
You know what? I will say this, if he's still here, though. I would like to see Joe and Zach Campbell contest for a baseball. See who wins.
I think if he steals the ball from Joe, Joe's gonna punch him. Zach Campbell, he just comes off as a really weird guy. That's my opinion.
He doesn't hang out. He doesn't hang around a lot of.
He doesn't seem personable.
Well, I mean, that's not even my point. My point is like he hangs out like nerd interns, like the hoodie mavens of the world and all that shit. Like those are the type of his interns. We know one of them. I won't mention his name. Shout out to Tudo. What's going on, Tudo? That video came out today. Yeah, I saw it on Twitter. That's kind of why I brought it up. But Luca, if you want to keep going.
So next headline: a rare trade in Major League Baseball. This almost never happens. The Braves and Royals made a trade involving a number 1 prospect and 2 others for a Major League Baseball draft pick. You heard that right. A draft pick was being involved in this trade.
Whoa, that is.
The Atlanta Braves and Kansas City Royals were finalizing a trade that will send high prospect Drew Waters, right-handed pitching prospect Andrew Hoffman, and a third minor leaguer to the Royals for the 35th pick in this Sunday's draft, which has a $2.2 million slot value. There you go. So the 35th pick overall, I find that very interesting. So, again, you really see that. Obviously, we mentioned the Whit Merrifield stuff. Braves traded for Cano. The Orioles made a serious run, are continuing to make a serious run by being relevant as the rebuild hopefully comes to an end. They are right now 2 games back of the American League wild card, which is very scary. And they are 2 games back in the division from the Toronto Blue Jays sitting in 4th place.
That's
so
scary.
the Orioles are on the rise. You know, I think they should stay pat at the deadline. You know, keep building. That's what I say. Obviously, Adley Rutschman's doing his thing.
They have a direction.
Yes, they have direction. So, as I'm watching right now, the Mets are up 2-1 on the Atlanta Braves as Austin Riley hit a home run off Max Scherzer. This is the bottom of the 7th. Big series because the Atlanta Braves are 1.5 games back for the Mets, the division lead. Remember, we were talking about how big the Mets were. You know, they had this big lead early on. Now it's only shrunk to 1.5 games. And, you know, there's a lot of, some bats haven't performed. The bullpen's been very shaky. Could this be the series where the Mets fall back to 2nd place? I think this is a 3-game set. Do you guys think that the Braves will end up taking the series and the division after the series?
What's the score now?
It is 2-1 at Mets.
Okay.
I think it's going to go neck and neck. Personally, I don't think that I don't think the Braves are going to sweep the series by any stretch. But I do think that by the end of the day, I think it's going to be a race right to the last week. I think I mean, the Braves are on fire. I can see them overtaking the Mets. I think they will, but I think it's going to be back and forth, and it's not going to be disrespect to the Mets because the Mets are having an awesome year. Buck Showalter's done an unbelievable job. The Mets are going to get fully healthy with Scherzer and DeGrom
coming back,
and their starting rotations fire anyway. I like that, but then the Braves won a championship, and they've got that championship DNA. So I think the Braves are going to take the division, but it's going to be a hell of a year for both teams, and the Mets are going to have every right to be very, very excited about their team.
Now, I'm going to look at the box score right now. I'm sorry to interrupt, Alex. Scherzer finishes off the inning with a strikeout of Eddie Rosario. Scherzer's line, 9 strikeouts, 1 run, 3 hits, and a home run. That's it. That is very dominant from Scherzer. That's what you expect out of your ace every time, in and out. So, Alex, you were saying.
Well, there's actually two things I want to get to in chat. But after their respective series, the Braves play the Nats, Mets play the Cubs. Who comes out in terms of the division? Like, if you want to, because actually the All-Star break is a week from today. That's the Home Run Derby, which next week we have to sort out, obviously, because Monday we'll be in Atlantic City. But of course, who do you think takes the division? Do you think the Mets succeed more against the Cubs, or do you think the Braves succeed more against the Nationals?
That's interesting because they're 2 bottom teams. It's 2 top teams versus 2 bottom teams. You never know. But I think the Braves have a better lineup. Like, their lineups perform better than the Mets. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a very interesting series between both of them. We'll see how they fare before the All-Star break. We'll definitely, do some comparisons and stuff. Huge start for Max Scherzer. He pitched very well. Second start off the IL. Jacob deGrom continues to put strong starts together for single A in his rehab assignment. Now, let me get your thoughts on this. Obviously, we're not Met fans. What do you guys think of the reports that the Mets know that Jacob deGrom will opt out after the season? And how much do you think he will get paid from other teams? And would you, if you're a Met fan, would you consider signing him or a member of the Mets organization? Be aware of the. Go ahead.
You were saying.
Be aware of the injury history. Be aware of also how well he's pitched and how dominant of a force he is.
I gotta know. I have to think how much Steve Cohen is probably willing to pay somebody like that. MH says resign him. Mets fan, of course. But I think he's gonna get around $40 million in free agency, just because maybe that's too high, but like in the 30s. I think he's gonna get more than a 1-year deal.
Well, obviously, I think they're gonna offer him a multi-year contract. And somebody made the point that not many, when players opt out of their contracts, you don't see that case very often where the player goes back to his same team. I remember in 2007, obviously I wasn't watching baseball then; I was way too young. Where Alex Rodriguez opted out of his contract, but he went right back in with the Yankees. So that's like one of the rare cases you see. DeGrom this year is earning $33 million. $33.5 million. Obviously, next year is the option, 30.5, and then 32.5 million the next year. 2025 is a free agent, but again, he has the option for next year, whether he wants to opt in or opt out. We'll see. So definitely a Mad Max-like contract, $40 million. As this one's hit to right, Guillorme hits a home run for the Mets. It's 3-1, so they're continuing to build the lead. Anyways, back to it. Should the Mets trade for a guy like Wilson Contreras and David Robertson? James McCann is having a very bad year. I couldn't tell you how many times Joe Torriello, Joe from Clark on Twitter, was complaining about McCann. He hates James McCann. And when they signed him, I was like, wow, this is a good signing for the Mets. They got a really good catcher. So his stats on the year, you're going to be stunned. 183, 2 homers, 11 RBIs.
Yeah.
He has been awful.
Somebody like that.
That's outrageous.
And my thing is, obviously I mentioned David Robertson. McCann is also injured. He left the game early on July 9th because of discomfort his left side. With the whole deadline stuff, obviously they might be in the market for an outfielder. I don't know if they will be. Catcher's obviously a big, important component. What will they offer? Well, let's just say the Cubs want Francisco Alvarez, who is their top catching prospect. I can vie for him. He's been excellent. Are you giving up Francisco Alvarez in a trade for Wilson Contreras and David Robertson? I don't think the Mets will be like stronghold on that because they gave up Kalenic. I understand it's a different regime now, but they gave up Kalenic for Edwin Diaz and Robinson Cano.
I don't think they'll give up Alvarez. I don't think that will happen. Because I think Alvarez has the potential to provide more of a pop. Now, it's not Brian Cashman here and Steve Cohen. We don't know how he's going to work with this shit. But I think Francisco Alvarez has the potential to provide more of a pop in his bat than a guy Wilson Contreras has ever been. Because Wilson Contreras is about an average, a little slightly above average hitter. And obviously, once again, that's not one of the main concerns. Like, I don't know how Francisco Alvarez right now is operating in AAA.
I'll do that math for you.
In terms of his defense, that's the part I don't know, but I know offensively he's been hitting the ball really hard. That accounts for something. So I don't think they will give up.
All right, let me just say, I'm sorry to interrupt again, Alex. In AAA, he's played about 5 games actually. I think he might. Reading this, he might be injured because he was like really hot start. I don't know if these stats are updated though. Not sure. But in the minor leagues this year, Alvarez has hit 18 homers, 49 RBIs, 268 average. So that's what he's been for power.
Phenomenal.
So he's a phenomenal prospect, one of baseball's tops. So there you got. Mets desperate to add a bat before the deadline. We knew that. And 4 Mets made the All-Star team. As I said, Marte, Diaz, McNeil, and Alonso. As the Mets are obviously up 3-1, and that will
Marte's awesome. If there was a center fielder I wanted for the Yankees, it was Marte.
I loved Marte. I want him badly.
Stolen base machine, gets on base, hits for average. Snap.
All right, so I think that wraps up the baseball segment.
I do want to get to something though. What did you think of Garrett Cole's blow up the other day, Donald? Are you concerned about his blow ups like at Fenway in the playoffs? Because obviously I should have brought that up in a rotation discussion. But right now it just seems like you don't have an ace. You have just a bunch of pitchers pitching. But like, how concerned are you with a guy like Garrett Cole? Right now moving forward. Jordan.
Luca?
Well, he was asking you.
You can go first.
All right. I'm honestly very concerned about our pitching in the playoffs, and Garrett Cole has to go with it. Because, Taillon, obviously he fell back down to earth. Cortez is falling back down to earth. We need a pitching arm in the playoffs. Like, my goal for Brian Cashman, I think one of our MLB News guys said this, and I agree 100% wholeheartedly. You get this deadline for whatever it is, hitting, pitching, or whatever. If you're Brian Cashman, you must get the guys so you can place less blame on yourself. In my opinion, you have to get. When it comes playoff time? Let's just say the Yankees blow it. You have to be like, okay, I did what I could. These guys just didn't perform. That's how I see it. But Garrett Cole, I don't have a lot of confidence, in my opinion, in these important games. That's just my opinion. Taillon, not a fan. Severino's gotten better in the playoffs throughout the years. Cortez, I don't think he's going to be pitching in important games. You obviously got Jordan Montgomery. There's some confidence there, but again, he only pitched in the bubble season. When in the playoffs, that's it. So,
so the rotation in general, I think, is retreating back to the mean. It was bound to happen because there was a stage where all 5 of them were making a case that they could have made an all-star bid. Or 4 anyway. But it's retreated back to the mean. Garrett Cole at Yankee Stadium, I'm not worried about. But on the road, ish. I don't know. He isn't. I don't know. I like Garrett Cole a lot, and the game that we went to, Garrett Cole was awesome.
He was
he's in general been pretty darn good this year, but he's had more blow-ups than anybody else in our rotation, apart from Taillon, and that is a concern because that's not what we're paying him. He he's certainly given up the long ball more than I'm comfortable with. And in general, Severino seems to be locking in a little bit more. Certainly, Nasty Nestor has. I don't know. It's really hard to describe how I'm feeling about Garrett Cole this year. I think he got in the All-Star game because he's the biggest name, but I'm not necessarily saying he's been our best pitcher. But I am not saying anything derogatory because he's got the best stuff in our rotation, and he's got the best upside in our rotation. And if you were to ask me who's going to be the next Yankee who's going to get a no-hitter, it's going to be Garrett Cole. I think he's more than capable of doing it, and he's more than capable of shutting down any lineup. He's capable of shutting down the Astros. He's capable of shutting down the Red Sox. It's just he has these blow-ups, and you don't know when it's going to happen. You can't predict it, and it's just strange. Now, I still trust him, but I'm less certain of it, as you can tell. Then now let's talk about the rotation itself. I do think we need another starting arm for the rotation because they're talking about Nasty Nestor's innings limit. They're talking about the fact that Severino is he's not really pitched properly in about 2 odd years. So they're probably going to want to watch his innings too. Montgomery's got a rubber arm, but he's not got great stuff. He's got pretty average stuff, in my opinion. I'm not a big Montgomery fan, but he's got a rubber arm, and you can always trust him to eat innings. Taillon, he's been great until the last 20 innings, and he's fallen the frick apart. So I don't know what to make of that, but when you consider all that, also the fact that Taillon's not really pitched properly in a couple of years either, he's never pitched a full year, I think now we're getting to the stage now where you have to seriously consider another arm.
I agree. Tony finished in 215th place in the World Series of Poker for $54,000. Did you get the $54,000, or is that the actual reward?
Sounds like he got the $54,000, right?
I don't know, but Tony, let us know. He also says, I was surprised that Hayes wasn't selected. I thought he should have been selected. And instead, the Orioles are represented by one bullpen guy. I believe that is Jorge Lopez.
Yep.
So, Luca, if you want to move us over to our next topic.
So, you ready to talk?
MLB questions, by the way. We'll answer them throughout the stream and stuff like that, whether it's MLB, NBA, NFL. We'll answer them throughout the stream. We're flexible in that area, of course. But, Luca, take us into our next topic.
So, are we ready to dive into a little bit of football, or I want us to do with a big basketball discussion? Which one, Alex? I'm honestly feeling a little basketball towards my end.
Okay.
I'm thinking we close basketball. We touch on the Jets issue, and then we close on basketball.
Yeah. Too bad.
And
sounds good.
And Luke is so excited that he's decided to just crash his camera.
You got 54,000.
Congrats, Tony. You nailed it, brother.
Congrats, man. Some people don't, do good after the first day, and you did. So
some people aren't that lucky.
You did great, man. Did great.
Do you want to discuss the Baker stuff, or
let's start with the Baker stuff? That was like a little more groundbreaking.
Donald, your thoughts on Baker Mayfield getting traded to the Carolina Panthers?
So now they've got 2 below-average quarterbacks to choose from. So maybe if they combine the 2 together, they might come to an average quarterback. I don't know what their plan is with this. Baker's better than Sam Darnold, but not by much. So yeah, I think it was an overpay for Baker Mayfield.
You understand that a conditional 5th round pick was given up, right?
I think it's an overpay.
Could have been a free agent.
I'm not a Baker Mayfield fan, man. He doesn't. I think he's a product of the fact that he has an awesome team around him. That he was able to get some of the yards that he was, but the reason why he didn't succeed is because he's not very good.
It was 2024 5th round pick. Do you still think that's an overpay?
I mean, obviously, I'm being slightly sarcastic, but
I know.
I do think there is an element. There is an element of an overpay. I don't think he's worth anything at this juncture.
Interesting. Now, do you guys
I would even
think
prefer Daniel Jones to Baker Mayfield?
I would take that. I've said it before. I would take Daniel Jones over Baker Mayfield.
Now, do you guys? Yes.
Great numbers.
Blue City says what's funny is the Browns are playing against the Panthers week 1, almost similar to the Panthers playing the Jets in week 1 with Sam Darnold starting quarterback. Let me say this: does the factor of blame of the Browns forcing Mayfield or Mayfield himself forcing himself to play injured last year factor into this? Because remember, he was playing with something torn in his shoulder. I don't remember the injury. I can have it right now. Do you think?
Excuse of.
Yeah, it was. Hold on a second. It was first. It was a right knee contusion, and then it was a torn labrum. Then he did the surgery after the season. So what I think he did was he's like, you know what? I take pride in winning. I'll do the surgery after the season. Unfortunately, he played like shit. To me. To me, the Browns organization's got to say, Baker, listen, we understand you want to win, bro, but this is a serious injury. A torn labrum fucks up your arm mechanics when you're throwing the football. So that I can understand. Baker Mayfield's ego got to him. Unfortunately, that really corroded his season, but that's what it is. I think the Browns could have done a better job with the situation of the injury. Now Baker Mayfield's got to start fresh once again, and I think Matt Rule will continue to be on the hot seat because he's completely bungling this quarterback situation.
Look, can I just add? I think it's a vicious circle because I think that Baker knew that there was talk. Obviously, the organization, he'd probably heard from behind the scenes that the organization is not too happy with his performances,
right.
Not living up to him being the first overall pick. I think he felt that pressure. He knew that if he just signed off with an injury, his career with the Browns was done. And then also, he does have that winning mentality. Now, obviously, skills-wise, I don't love his skill set as a quarterback. He does have a decent arm, but his accuracy is poor, and his mechanics in the quarterbacks in the pockets kind of poor too. His movement's not great. I think that really what it came down to is he felt the pressure from the organization, and I'm not saying the Browns forced him to play when he's hurt, but I think he forced himself to play hurt to try and keep his career on track and help win because he does have that winning mentality about him. I've always liked that about him in college. He had that winning mentality, but he hurt himself. He hurt himself in that way. But I do have sympathy for that. I think. You like your quarterback to play hurt. Eli Manning played hurt a lot, but he just kept playing. And I like that about a guy that doesn't miss games. So I don't think that he's a bad guy necessarily at all. I think that he's a gamer. It just obviously it hurt him in terms of his career with the Browns.
Before I implement my thoughts, shouts to Evan Spitzberg, who we met at NYY News TV Day. And his friend as well. As I said on Twitter, I apologize to your friend that the no-hitter was actually his first Yankee game. So that was Pete, and alongside Evan in the middle and his friend on the left. That's what I got from
nice
Twitter.
Picture. Sorry, man. To go to another game, we'll get it. We'll win one for you.
I thought he had a torn labia in week 1. He had torn something. Torn L. How about that? Torn L. Jones over Baker.
Yeah, partially torn labrum suffered in week 2.
Excuse me. What I will say about this Baker Mayfield stuff, I've gotten into a couple of Twitter quarrels about it. Here's their quarterback room, by the way: Davis Cheek, Matt Corral, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, and PJ Walker. This was the main argument that it was brought up to me on Twitter. Oh well, he led them to a playoff run. First of all, I did my research automatically and right then and there. Because when you talk about what happened in 2020, they ran the ball the 4th most in the NFL. And they had probably top 5 production in the running game. You take a look at the passing stats, they were top 10 bottom-wise.
were
with
bottom
the
10.
Giants and the Jets fucking.
Well, top 10 bottom wise.
Top 10 worst.
That's a great clip. That.
Yes. He would go
Bottom
to many
10.
more games. Don't worry, Alex. It's not your fault. Thank you.
There's a
I feel a little bit better of myself, but obviously we'll be going to the game on Thursday, so we'll try to wipe away that memory. And roast Tommy Pham about his maybe Baker Mayfield will be on Tommy Pham's team for fantasy football. But anyway, back to my point. They were bottom 10 in passing stats, and they passed like bottom 4, I would say the 4th least in the NFL. So what does that tell you? That tells you that they were heavily reliant on the running game. The defense helped them, and Baker Mayfield, all his stats and shit like that. But guess what? He was not the main reason.
He did enough. He did enough for them to win.
I'm not trying to compare him, even though it's been the market this way. I'm not trying to compare him to Jimmy G or some of these mid quarterbacks, but hell, that's how some of those quarterbacks get away with, they're a good quarterback or a solid quarterback. Like I was arguing with the Panthers homer. Like, dude, can you not see this? And he's like, he had the torn whatever last year. 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. You look at 2020, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. How about the year, and his offensive line in 2019 was actually not that great, but how about the year he had Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr.? What did he do there? He pissed it away. 22 touchdowns, which is better than, me and Donald have seen, compared to 21 interceptions.
Ooh, 21 interceptions.
And then add any of the turnovers for that. Last year, his QBR was 35.1. Once again, yes, the injury. Let's see, his passer rating, 83.1, which is probably in the midsection. My fucking point is that this guy does not put up elite stats for the stock that he was supposed to be, filled with. Number 1 overall, 2018. At least Sam Darnold, and I'm not trying to pull Lucas Jets into it. If he had a competent team minus his own stupid mistakes, I thought he would have a better ceiling than Baker Mayfield. Not at the time they were drafted, but in revisionist 2020 history. That I think that Daniel Jones would have been better with the team that Baker Mayfield had than Baker Mayfield. I thought, Sam Darnold would have been better. But I don't like this move because he's botched that quarterback situation. Trade for Teddy or sign Teddy, whatever the fuck they did. Trade Teddy. Bring Cam back for like 2 games. Put in PJ Walker. Sam Darnold. Like, I don't know how people don't see it, and they have a decent team this year. I'm not going to lie. They have a couple of decent pieces on this team. They could be probably around the 7 to 9 win range, in my opinion. I don't know what we predicted them as, but I think everybody's overhyping this, and I've been spotting this out for a while. I could be wrong, though. Matt Rule's ego is the thing that's going to be getting him fired this year. I
completely agree. What they're doing right now, even though the rest of their team is fine, they're stockpiling middling quarterbacks. And when you stockpile middling quarterbacks, you're not going to get the results you want. At best, at very, very best, you're going to be mediocre. Either a couple games below 500, maybe 500 at best. But the quarterback is the most important position in sports. You just don't stockpile average to below average quarterbacks thinking that you're just going to find a magic elixir in one of them. And it just doesn't work that way, man. You like, for instance, it's kind of like rotating closers. You just need one good closer. You don't need 4 or 5 average ones. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to get the results you need. I don't understand that strategy, and I do think Matt Rule's going to get himself fired because his ego is through the roof. What does he think's going to happen with this stockpiling quarterback situation? They drafted one Matt Corral. He's never going to see the light of day. Darnold, was he going to play back up to Mayfield? How is that going to work? Is Mayfield going to be back up to Darnold? I don't see much difference between the two of them. You can't play both of them at the same time and hope that one of them does well. I mean, how is it going to work? It just sounds stupid.
Jets Smith says, when you have 2 QBs, then you have none.
Perfectly put.
Shouts to Jeff. I know he's very pissed off about the Nets. I've seen him on Premium Takes and a couple of different podcasts.
Thank you, NYG Jeffy.
Yes.
Appreciate
sub
it.
up. Appreciate it. Panthers have no QBs at all. Nope. I say Corral should start. Why not at this point? I bet Luca can't wait to talk all Jets training camp about Zach Wilson being the man of Cougar ladies. Would you guys prefer Benintendi over Hap? 100%. I'm going to St. Louis next month, so I unfortunately won't be able to make FanFest. It's all right. There's gonna be games. There's gonna be events and stuff like that, for you to come to, Evan. And I at least that I know, and I can't say, of course, because things aren't tightened out. But NYY News TV is planning more shit for the year of 2022. I'll say that. I can't.
Hope you have fun in St. Louis, bro.
Yeah, have fun in St. Louis, by the way. We will get to this. What was I say? Panthers have no QBs at all. Yeah, I mean, Luca, you have any thoughts to provide
on the Panthers situation? Yeah, I think as I said earlier, the Panthers are bungling this all the way. All the way they're doing this. And, we talked about Matt Rule. Donald was talking about how they have meddling quarterbacks. There's no good quarterback in that room. And it's like they can't find the true QB answer. That's on the front office. That's also on the coaching staff. I just don't like what they're doing at all. I just don't.
Stracy 1021 from Twitch says hi. Be sure to follow. I know we stream to multiple platforms, so be sure to follow the Twitch, as well as, of course, subscribing, liking, all the stuff for the YouTube channel. But yeah, going back to my point, I know Jeffrey's very pissed about the Nets and the way they've handled things with Durant, of course, and Kyrie and all that stuff. But any final thought, Luca, if you want to give your little thoughts on Zach Wilson? I mean, I don't think.
My little thoughts on Zach Wilson. He's the guy. He's the guy. But in all seriousness, if you guys didn't know already, Zach Wilson, his ex-girlfriend was trying to expose him. First of all, his ex-girlfriend's dating his best friend, Dax Milne, who's a receiver for the Commanders, who might not even probably make the team. Let's just put that out there. And his girlfriend tried to expose, him and saying, he slept with his mom's best friend. First of all, nice. I'm a joke about that. But I don't think it's a big deal, honestly, Let the man do what he wants. And he has the experience. How about that?
That's an interesting quote.
Yeah.
Evan says, thanks, guys. I'll try to be definitely at the end next NYY News TV event. I know this. I'm not going to say too much more than this, but about this next event, it's going to definitely be cheaper. It's not being in the 120 range. It's almost 130 with taxes. I know because I paid for it. Nobody gets free, but it's going to be cheaper. Let you know that. Celebrity Friends Mom W guy.
Yeah, everybody, you know what I love? Every one of his teammates, like Elijah Moore. I know Chad Ochocinco is a big fan of him. He's like, win and all this different stuff. They're supporting him. There's no negative comment out there. But I also know that somebody joked on Twitter, there's like one scandal that gets to Jets quarterbacks. You had Sanchez in the butt fumble. You had Geno Smith getting punched in the jaw, breaking his jaw. You also had
Cougar Gate.
Sam Darnold with a mono.
I saw that tweet. Cougar Gate, Jaw Gate, Hot Dog Gate,
and Butt Fumble Gate.
No,
Hot Dog Gate with Sanchez. It was just him in 2009. Jets were blowing out the Raiders, and he pulls out a hot dog and rips some mustard on it. I mean, you let the guy eat, I guess. But
okay, no. Here's the exact tweet: Sanchez, Hot Dog Gate; Geno, Jaw Gate; Darnold, Mono Gate; Wilson, Mom Gate;
Cougar Gate, as somebody else said.
Exactly.
But again, let the man do what he wants. I don't think this is a big deal. Let him have fun.
Donald,
I don't care. I really don't care what they do off the field. I really don't.
Yeah.
As long as he's not doing anything. As long as he's not doing anything illegal or wrong or bad or anything like that. He's a young guy. He's He's an athlete. He's a quarterback in New York. You're going to get girls. He's just doing his thing. Just let him – as long as it doesn't interfere with the way he plays football, I don't really care.
Exactly.
It's all about what he does on the field. And as long as off the field he handles things with integrity, whatever he does off the field, as long as it's with integrity, then I really don't care what he does.
Yeah. Evan says also, Donald, you're doing a good job filling in for Sean on the podcast. Yes, Donald has done a great job adding a lot of stuff to this show, a lot of different skill sets. So Donald has been great for us. Nick's doing well in the summer league. Yes. Is he a Mormon? Is he?
I don't know for a fact. I'll be quite honest. I don't know for a fact.
Isn't that because BYU?
He lived in Utah.
Okay. Well, BYU, Utah, one of them. It's a vert personal distraction. We shall see.
I don't think it is, though. If it really distracts him, on the what?
As long as it doesn't interfere with his play, I see this as a non-story. But we'll see.
I think it is a non-story too. At least he's getting support from his teammates. Like everybody's saying, that's my quarterback. So you got to give him credit with that. So
now we have Donald here.
Flip back. My laptop ran out of battery.
All good, Donald. All good. Luca, any thoughts? Final thoughts to add on it?
Nothing much with that. I can't wait because the next time we'll be on training camp, we'll finally get going.
True. That's
gonna
true.
Be fire. It's gonna be fire. I can't wait for football.
Luca,
you want to glide us into our next subject?
All right. Let me just put up a banner real quick. Hold on. NBA offseason and summer league. Let's put up this banner real quick. So the NBA offseason looks like it will finally commence. It's been an interesting free agency period. So let me start off with a couple of headlines. So in recent memory, Damian Lillard has earned a 2-year, $122 million extension with the Portland Trailblazers. If you guys want me to do the math, that's $61 million a year for Damian Lillard. Just going to put that out there. I know Damian, first of all, I'm going to give my thoughts. Damian Lillard's elite, but there's no way in hell he should be being paid over guys like Jokic and the LeBrons of this world and the other guys. But I'm stunned at this contract. I'm all for player loyalty. I'm not a huge fan of the super teams thing, this and that. Damian Lillard's very against that. And he's going to shit on his haters, who say, oh, you don't like winning all this stuff. Listen, I support loyalty, but why would Portland give him $61 million a year? That's a little way too much. Donald, your thoughts?
What it says to me is that he's going to finish his career in Portland. I think that's the plan. I think what it also says to me is that the franchise wants to go all in on Lillard because they know they're not going to be able to put that money into anyone else. They don't have anything else to offer a free agent unless like Kevin Durant goes and says, I want to play with Damian Lillard, and they maybe make a trade or something like that, but they're not going to do anything in free agency. No one wants to go to Portland. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to pay what they've already done is where they're going to pay Lillard to basically break all the franchise records. He's number 2 in a bunch of franchise records right now. Scoring, assists, etc. I think they're going to pay him to break those records and be the best player in franchise history, which I think he already is anyway, but just to be statistically that as well. I think it's also kind of I think they're paying over the odds to make sure he doesn't go to the Knicks. And I think they're paying over the odds to make sure that they kind of do something right by him, considering they've screwed him over the last 5-6 years by not putting any good players around him when he was in his prime, when he was balling out, when he was probably the best point guard in basketball for at least a 3 or 4 year stretch. They didn't put any players around him
other than CJ McCollum.
Right.
And they failed him. And, you're talking about loyalty. I'm a huge advocate for loyalty. I don't think there's enough of it in sports. But
especially in the
NBA. This occasion, especially in NBA, you're right. In this occasion, it's misplaced loyalty. I don't quite know why he's given his best years to a Portland team who are not going to win a championship. They're not even close to putting together a team that's going to be competitive. I think they failed him, and I don't really know why he signed this contract. I think his loyalty is misplaced. But you know what? He loves Portland. He loves the city. He loves the fans. He loves the franchise, and I can't blame him for it. And if we were Portland fans, we would be jumping for joy right now. And I know it's an overpay, but considering where the franchise is right now, you can't blame them for paying over the odds to make sure that he stays in Portland.
Yeah, definitely. And Alex, what are your thoughts? I know you're a casual NBA fan, but I'd like to hear your thoughts.
As Donald said, they haven't been able to put a good team around him.
I know you, Matt Riley, and Sean, like in the car on the way to Patsy's, were talking about players and loyalty in NBA. And Michael Jordan has came out against super teams, and he's like, there's not enough loyalty in this league anymore. That's what he came out and said. So he would agree with Damian.
Yes, I'm in a library.
Yes, Donald is in a library.
I'm staying at my friend's house, and I don't want to keep them up at night, so I'm staying quiet.
Yeah, he's staying at Inside Voices. Evan says Lillard will not win a championship with Portland. Yeah,
I don't think he will either.
I mean, just judging as a casual, they haven't been able to put a team around him, and he's going to be that spot of relevancy in Portland, not as a playoff team, but that centerpiece player that, not this shit again. But what was I going to say? In terms of a franchise cornerstone player, but they didn't do anything with. Like, I'm not going to say a
wasted career.
Wasted career. But I guess that's what it's got to at this point. But, when you're Lillard, you could have gone to several teams and forced your way out a little bit more. I mean, I honestly question that sort of loyalty, but, you weigh that against something like a super team, which is really better. One for the better of the product, but not really, or this superstar is staying with this team instead of going to a team that could be more competitive. Shout outs to Wales. He says, great stream, fellas. Good night. God bless. Thank you, Wales, for tuning in.
Thank you so much for checking us out.
So among that, same thing happened with Bradley Beal. He actually didn't get an extension. He was re-signed by the Washington Wizards. Let me put up the headline real quick. Re-signs with Wizards. 5 years, $250 million. That is a max. That was max contract worth the max. So if you want to do the math, 251 divisible by 5, that's $50 million a year. So what are your thoughts on that, Donald, on Bradley Beal re-signing with the Wizards?
Overpay? He's an awesome scorer, but he doesn't help your team win. He doesn't really improve the bottom line. He's just a great scorer. He's not a great three-point shooter. He's only okay from range. If as a Knicks fan, even though we're desperate for a two-guard that's a superstar, I wouldn't make a trade for Beal, even prior to this contract. Even less so if he was to make himself available. I don't think he's going to put us over the top. He doesn't play defense that well. Doesn't shoot from range that well. I'm not saying he's not a great player. He's a very good scorer. I'm again kind of misplaced loyalty. A couple of years ago when he was having a career year, that was the time to move him. He could have gone to a team that really could have won a championship. But he's happy to waste his years in Washington. If he wants to do that, Godspeed. It's no skin off my back. But I don't want anything to do with him.
So yeah, I say the same. The Wizards' prime was obviously like the years with John Wall. Let me discuss that real quick. John Wall is obviously bought out by the Houston Rockets. Now he's with the Clippers. He might actually vie for a starting job. Donald, your thoughts?
The Clippers are loading up. They could be a force. They've got a good coach.
I think they're very underrated, in my opinion. What I'll say is, I originally don't think that, I don't think John Wall will get the starting spot. I'm not sure if, listen, 2021 was his last season. Obviously the, half fans, no fans, or whatever you want to call it. But, he did show signs of still scoring the basketball, still driving the rim at will. But in my opinion, I think some of his mobility is kind of lost, and I don't think he's shooting as efficiently as he did in his prime. Mm-hmm. So maybe he's that pop guy off the bench. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, even if he's a sixth man, or even if he only plays 20, 25 minutes as a starter, as he said, he's going to be asked to be the third scorer in the team. So he's going to be taking on their third best defender. Good luck, because he's still an efficient scorer. He still gets the paint. He's still fast as hell in transition. He gets the paint pretty well. Not a great shooter, but his shooting improved when he went to the Rockets. So I think he's going to be fine. As long as we don't ask him to play major minutes, I think he could serve the Derrick Rose role when he went to the Knicks last year.
Absolutely.
I think he could do that. I think he could certainly serve a role similar to Derrick Rose. I still think Derrick Rose is a little bit better at this juncture, but it's 6.5 a dozen. I like John Wall. I think the Clippers are going to be a much improved team this year.
He's like one of those past his prime veterans that'll help a very good contending team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's definitely what I think. So I'll leave it at that. Now we're going to go into the Warriors a little bit. So Golden State's young guys, who gets how many minutes? So let me just say, James Wiseman made his return to action yesterday against the San Antonio Spurs in the Summer League, scoring 11 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 blocks. What are your expectations for James Wiseman? I know we're outsiders. I know we're obviously Knicks fans, but what are your expectations for Wiseman? Kevon Looney was re-signed. Does he get the nod over Kevon Looney, or does he go to the bench to start as he's rehabbing?
I'll start bench. Looney will be the starting center for sure. Wiseman needs to prove he can be healthy. But Wiseman is a great talent. It's just health for him, man. Coming into the draft process, he was an awesome prospect, and I liked the pick at the time because he needed a big at the time. It's just health for him. So I really hope that he can prove that he can be healthy. It's going to take time. Looney, his game improved exponentially towards playoff time, and then he absolutely killed it in the finals. He was awesome. So he's more than merited being a starter, but I could see Wiseman being I'm not sure how many minutes he's going to get, but I think he'll certainly have a role. It'll be a rotational role at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I was very high on Wiseman coming to the draft process. Obviously, it's going to be a rough comeback for him. I do think he starts on the bench, but I think along the way he's going to become more of a force on offense because Looney, he's going to be at the paint. You might give him under the basket stuff, under his basket passes, lob. Maybe he's a little bit of a lob threat, but I don't think he has that great vertical that Wiseman does. Wiseman's also a very good pick and pop. Might be a good pick and pop threat in the future. He's also a very good pick and roll threat, and that's going to be very important. To keep Steph Curry's passing alive. I think, that just makes the Warriors lineup even better. You obviously got the passing with Draymond Green, shooting with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, defense with Andrew Wiggins. It's like a multifaceted starting lineup that can do many things. And adding Wiseman as a rim protector and a roll man and a stretch guy, who can stretch the floor if he gets better at that, that's just going to be awesome to see. So in terms of other young guys on the Golden State Warriors, Now, they did re-sign, not that they didn't re-sign, they signed Dante DiVincenzo from the Sacramento Kings. He'll be likely the backup shooting guard. Two guys that are likely going to vie for rotation spots who were drafted last year, first-round picks, Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga. Now, I know, Donald, you're a big fan of Jonathan Kuminga. So I'm going to read you off the depth chart. So obviously the starting lineup would be set. Curry, Thompson, Wiggins, Draymond Green, Kevon Looney. The backups, here you go. Jordan Poole, Dante DiVincenzo, Andre Iguodala, power forward is available, and center would be James Wiseman. So who do you see taking the small forward or power forward spot? Obviously, Iguodala can do small forward or power forward as well. So who do you think will show out enough?
Well, it sounds like there's a hole at the 4 spot, and I think they're hoping that Kuminga takes that role. Iguodala's too old to be starting. That's not going to happen. So
well, he's not starting, but he's going to be off the bench.
Yeah, well, I know that, but I think there's a starting role for Kuminga. I'm surprised that they didn't use him really at all in the finals. So, but I'm a big fan of Moody. And
very big fan coming out of college. I liked his shooting. I liked how his off-ball action.
I think that with the league on, I think it's opened up an opportunity for increased minutes for Moody. I mean, when you asked me who I think is going to have a bigger role over the two, before I realized they didn't have a 4, then I actually would have said I think Moody's going to have a big role for the Warriors going into next year, but I think it's going to be Kuminga. He's going to be the starter. At the moment, unless they make any more changes, it's possible they do. We'll have to wait and see. But I think both of them are going to have a significant role to play in this team.
So I'm just going to put something up as well. Let me just put this up here. So another headline that was major in the offseason. Now, this one of the headlines that I'm going to put down is recent. The Celtics signed Danilo Gallinari about a few days ago, 2 years, $13 million as the stretch big. He was traded to the Spurs in the John T. Murray deal and was eventually bought out. So Gallinari, I like this signing for the Celtics. He gives you another stretch body. You know, Grant Williams can also do the same. Obviously, as I said, another stretch body on the perimeter. You know, he can play small forward or power forward. But I like this deal a lot. Very team friendly. And also the trade for Malcolm Brogdon. Donald, your thoughts? It does seem, though, that the Celtics will play Brogdon off the bench as a sixth man to give some pop.
I love this. I think if the Celtics fans should be really excited about this. Brogdon averaged 19 points per game, 6 assists over his career. He's very much capable of being a lead guard when healthy. It's really about health with him, but if you have him in a sixth-man role, then it will accentuate his best attributes, which is scoring. He's a good scoring combo guard. He's not necessarily a playmaking one, but he's a combo guard that can shoot. He can still play make a little bit as well. But for me, that was one of the things that was really missing from the Celtics team. You know, when we were talking with that Celtics writer, I was saying I really think that they're another guard away here, and I really felt that. I certainly felt that watching them in the finals. I felt they were lacking a little bit off the bench.
That's fair. Their guys didn't, step up. Pritchard didn't step up.
Exactly.
I mean, Derek White would give you the three. Derek White would give you the 3-point shooting, but Brogdon is a 3-level scorer.
Exactly. Marcus Smart is certainly did a hell of a lot better as a starting point guard than I would have anticipated, but he's still defensive first. Not particularly great playmaker. Okay from range, not particularly a scorer. Brogdon can fill in and score in multiple ways. I think he's going to be a really, really nice asset as long as he stays healthy. Health is the key for Brogdon. If he stays healthy, the Celtics are on a winner, and the Celtics are going to be the favorites to come out of the Eastern Conference again.
So do you think there's, I'm just thinking of this possibility, obviously the money doesn't make sense when you put Brogdon on the bench. Do you think there's any way he starts like sometime in the season?
Yeah, there's every possibility. In fact, I would say that I think he's probably going to play more minutes than Marcus Smart in a game anyway, because I think his scoring and his playmaking is better than Marcus Smart. They play defense anyway through the whole roster, so they'll find ways and maybe playing both of them at the same time at times. You could play Brown at the 3. You could play Tatum at 4. There's a bunch of ways in which you can work it, and which you can still get Marcus Smart and Brogdon on the same in the same team. I think that this adds different options, and I think that he is going to be a really nice piece for them. Really good trade for them. Yes,
yeah, definitely.
I do apologize for interrupting the basketball segment. Apparently, Brian Reynolds is on the IL.
Damn.
That sucks.
My Pirates brethren are going to be very upset about that.
At least that's 6 hours ago per one of their writers. So
back to basketball. Donald, he was a little skeptical on this guy. Chet Holmgren is destroying the summer league. Him and Josh Giddey. So let me also add, I'm watching the Thunder. I think this is the Thunder and the Magic, right? So the Thunder game, they're letting him free, man. They're letting him do whatever he wants. He's shown some great rim protection. He's let him handle the ball. He's done a lot of things good. So, Don, what are your thoughts on Chet Holmgren taking over the summer league? And are you still worried about his body?
I'm still worried about his body because summer league is summer league. He's not playing against NBA. Well, the NBA stars, NBA veterans yet. NBA veterans are going to be the test for him, but he's kind of doing exactly as I anticipated he was going to do. He should be destroying the summer league. He's playing against rookies and sophomores. He's as good, if not better, than all of them, and he's going to absolutely kill it. And he certainly has. The big test for him is when he plays the veterans. The veterans know how to defend guys like him. They've dealt with guys like him a million times before. But I'm not saying that Holmgren's not going to be awesome. I think he is going to be awesome. I think Jabari Smith's going to be awesome. I think Banchero's going to be good. But Holmgren, he's a great pickup for them, and he's gonna kill it this year. I don't doubt it. I do have worries about his body, but I don't think it's gonna harm him. I think his career is gonna be great. I think he's gonna be a fantastic NBA player, probably a star as well. He's got everything in his locker. Everything in his locker. I'm not surprised by the summer league.
So moving on, guy we're talking about pre-draft process. I didn't do a lot of research on him, but this is a very interesting, very troubling, news for this guy. Portland Trail Blazers rookie Shaedon Sharpe will miss for the rest of summer league with a small labral tear, pushing his growth process even further away. Now, mind you, what makes his growth process push back even further, he did not play 1 ounce of college basketball. So the raw talent is still going to be completely raw by the time he gets back. I don't know if he'll be back for preseason. I didn't see the report, whether the report, what time he's coming back, what the timeline was. So, Donald, your thoughts?
It sucks for him, but we'll see how long he's out for. Did it mention if he's going to be missing part of the NBA season or just summer league?
I'm going to check right now. So we are talking about Shaedon Sharpe. That sucks for him. So they say out for summer league. I'm going to find 10 to 14 days. He will be reevaluated after a period of rest and rehabilitation. So there is that. So continuing.
Sounds touch and go. It doesn't help his development necessarily missing summer league, but it's not going to kill things. I mean, I really outside of maybe the top 5, top 4, it's you're not expecting these guys to be stars right off the bat.
Exactly.
Some might develop better in a couple years' time. It really depends. So I don't think we should put too much pressure on Shaden Sharp. Just as long as he gets healthy and takes his time.
I don't think he's going to be thrust into a starting role immediately. Obviously.
No, I don't think so either. So I don't think it's going to harm him too much. I think it'll be okay.
So next up on the docket, John Morant says he would have cooked Michael Jordan in the 1990s.
I don't think we should talk about that. I think the one thing we should talk about with Morant is that he gave a $500 tip to that waitress, and he says he does that all the time. He says he does that all the time. That's the kind of thing that when we're talking about people handling their stardom with integrity off the field.
Yeah,
Morant is the example of that. He's not only is probably going to be the best point guard in the NBA in a couple of years' time, if not he is certainly on that path already, but he's an absolute all-star off the court as well. So I think it's really, really cool that he gives back the way he does.
So another guy, a very popular free agent, that was somehow his market has died down. DeAndre Ayton, apparently, according to Brian Windhorst, is close to a deal with the Indiana Pacers. So maybe we're thinking a sign and trade between the Suns and the Pacers. Maybe the Pacers get Ayton, Miles Turner to the Suns. So what are your thoughts on the died down market on DeAndre Ayton?
I'm actually not surprised. Are you? As much as
I kind of am, in my opinion.
As much as I like Ayton, I think his game, he's good, but he's at times been uncoachable. Monty Williams has had to try extra hard to get through to him on occasion. He's not necessarily a threat in from range.
They really haven't used him like that, and he did stretch the floor in college. So I guess they have enough stretch guys.
I think maybe with a bigger role, I think he'd be maybe better. But he's still a great player. Don't get me wrong, but there's probably a limit to that upside. Let's not forget that Mitchell Robinson dealt with him, put him in his pocket when they played each other. And I think that I think the Suns appreciate him, and I think the Suns respect him, and I think the Suns would have liked to have made a deal to keep him, but there's probably a ceiling, there's probably a limit that they reached. He's probably wanting superstar money. He's not worth that, and I don't blame them for moving on. And if they get Miles Turner as a stretch five, I can see that. So I'm not necessarily surprised that there isn't a huge market for him, because there's not a huge market for fives anyway, unless you're a scoring five, unless you're a five that does what Jokic does,
right?
Where he does everything. But a market for a decent rim protector who's good around the paint, yeah, fine. But I think there's probably a ceiling to that, and I think that's probably what they've reached.
Definitely. So apparently that quote about Michael Jordan was a fake quote aired by ESPN. Thank you, ESPN, for a fake quote. Anyways, back to it. So I said that. Looking at the remaining free agent class. Now, this wasn't a very good free agent class, let me just say for the record. But, again, let's go over it. So, Eric Bledsoe was obviously bought out by the Portland Trailblazers, or he was just at the end of his contract. Andre Iguodala is actually a free agent. I read that wrong because ESPN still has him as a part of the depth chart. They don't update their depth charts for some reason. I don't know why. Jeremy Lamb, shooting guard from the Sacramento Kings, he's still available. DeAndre Ayton, as we just mentioned, restricted free agent. Montrezl Harrell, who was traded to the Charlotte Hornets. I think he was. Juancho Hernan-Gomez was released by the Jazz. Dennis Schroeder, obviously, for free agent as well. Avery Bradley. Colin Sexton, who is expected to sign a deal with the Cavaliers to come back on a player option, or at least something like that, an offer of some kind. Lou Williams, the 35-year-old guard, is still a free agent, 35 years old, still trying to do what he can do. Marcus Aldridge, Paul Millsap, Dwight Howard, Blake Griffin, not a ton of guys. Carmelo Anthony, I'm surprised the Knicks have not, we haven't heard much from him on the Knicks front. Just saying. I know it's kind of like, listen, we all love Melo, but I don't think he's a fit for this team, in my opinion, unless you somehow, trade Julius Randle, Obi Toppin's the starter, Melo's the backup.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised he hasn't got a mark because he played very well for the Lakers. I know he was catch and shoot, but he did fine in his role. So I'm very
that's the key
surprised
right
at
there. I think there's a market for him, but I think he's going to wait till the off season goes on a little bit to see where there's a role for him in a contending team. Otherwise, I think he'll go to the Knicks, but the Knicks will need to move Julius Randle. I would love that, actually. In a limited role, you give him 20 minutes as a catch and shoot corner 3 guy. We actually do need some 3-point shooting. I think in our team, you move off Julius Randle and you have Obi Toppin starting at the 4. Carmelo Anthony is a good role player off the bench. I think that would actually help us more than forcing this Julius Randle, Obi Toppin thing again, which clearly did not work.
Yeah, you make a very good point there. There's, again, as I said, there's no confined role for Anthony on this team, but I'm still surprised his market's kind of stringent. Obviously, let me just say,
don't you think he's waiting for a contender, though? I mean, the Lakers
possible,
are
very possible. The Lakers aren't re-signing him.
Yeah,
they went with role players, but they went with younger role players. Yeah. They went with Lonnie Walker. I'm surprised they didn't retain Malik Monk. He was very good for them last season. He went to the Kings, so
he was great for them. I think that was a good signing for the Kings. That's an underrated signing for the Kings.
Melo was not going to ISO. He kind of changed up his play style a little bit. Like, he was passing in Portland. He was moving off ball. He was trying to be more involved. Randall could learn better footwork from Melo. I just still don't see him on this team. He just doesn't fit.
Peace out, Evan. Thanks for tuning in, my man.
So, to come with that, we are now going to go into our basketball team, the New York Knicks. So, Donald, give me a quick overview of the team's offseason, despite the questionable draft strategy, and also give me your thoughts on the front office. Where do you stand?
Okay, so draft strategy aside, we've got ourselves our starting point guard. Jalen Brunson, I love the pickup. The only thing that diminishes the grade somewhat is the draft strategy and the strategy in which to clear room for him. That concerns me. And I think that ruined the Knicks fans' excitement about the deal when it meant costing them a lottery pick. No one can tell me that the Knicks couldn't have found a way, considering they waived Taj Gibson's contract, and then they managed to trade off Noel and Burks for nothing in return, that they couldn't have at least gotten a back-end first-round pick because remember they traded back, they bought back into the first round, into the first round to get Durant. They couldn't have found a way to select a guy like Ajabi over at 14, something like that. A guy that can play defense and shoot threes, which we actually need now, because you go through a roster, not great 3-point shooting apart from Grimes and Fournier, not natural 3-point shooters anyway. RJ Barrett is still working on his form; it's still inconsistent. But that aside, Jalen Brunson's a great pickup. Jalen Brunson is top 4 in guards scoring in the paint. It was like 50%. He's top 5 in guards corner threes. He was around 50% there as well. So he can shoot corner threes. He can score in the paint. He can score in many different ways. He's a very good playmaker. And as Jeff Van Gundy said, he has got that determination, that personality that you want in the locker room. He's going to fight. And what he lacks in athleticism, he makes up in IQ. And I think he's going to be a really good pickup. You'll do what it takes to put this Knicks team on the next level. I'm not worried about the slight overpay because it's free agency. You're not going to get discounts in free agency, especially for point guards in their prime. It just doesn't happen. So, and also, if you really look at it, it's not huge. When you look at starting point guards in the NBA, what 20 odd million, 27 million, it's not really that bad. It'll be fine. Now, rest of the team, we've sorted out our center situation. We got our stretch five, and Isaiah Hartenstein. You got Jericho Sims, who's balling out, and you've got Mitchell Robinson re-signed. It's an overpay for Mitch Robinson, but he will be fine. So center is fine. So point guard and center, fine. We've got RJ Barrett, who's going to be probably will be a 3. Sorted, right? Now the biggest issue right now is the 2 and the 4. What are we going to do at 2? What are we going to do at 4? I want Obi Toppin starting at the 4. I want us to move off Julius Randle. One thing that will not work is forcing Julius Randle to play the 4. Obi Toppin backing him up. That's not going to work. Can't work anymore. That's done. It's proven not to work. I'm very worried about that. At the 2, Grimes looks like he's probably the best candidate to start because he's
that's actually going to be. Let me just say, I'm sorry to interrupt, Donald. That's actually going to be a debate of ours. We're going to go into different our different candidates, and we're going to do a little debate on it because I know Nick's Twitter was debating on it.
Well, I mean, in general, I think the front office has done the front office wanted to bring in a stretch 5 and a starting point guard. They've done
their
that.
Job.
Right? They've done that. They wanted to we pleaded for them to get rid of Nerlens Noel and Alec Burke.
I'm still surprised they got rid of Noel in the way they did. Because, that contract was considered unmovable even by myself.
Exactly. So you have to give them praise for that. But then let's not forget who was the guy that signed this immovable contract? Leon Rose, right? So he's just making up for the mistakes that he made just last year. And he ended up costing us a lottery pick, ended up costing us an opportunity to exponentially improve as opposed to improve incrementally, and it's all Leon Rose that did that. So I don't want to go too much on praising him for just making up for a mistake that he already made, and also the trade itself, just freeing up cap room. He's traded a lottery pick. He's traded 2 decent NBA players. Let's not forget that Nerlens Noel just a year prior was one of the elite shot blockers in the NBA. And Alec Burks was a very decent combo guard. Re-signing the 2 of them killed us. And what did we get for those 2 guys? 0. Nothing.
Future second-round picks, which mean nothing, I'm going to be honest.
Nothing. We got nothing for them. Right? And then what do we get for Kemba Walker? Nothing. So, I mean, he just basically made up for the mistakes that he made in the last offseason. So he doesn't deserve any praise, but at least we got a point guard. And that is a really good start. But we definitely need to move Julius Randle. I'm still going to give this offseason a C, possibly a D if we don't move Julius Randle, because I don't see a fit for Julius Randle. There's no fit for him in this team. I don't see where it's going to fit. He's proven that he doesn't want to work with RJ Barrett. He's proven that he can't work with Mitchell Robinson. And he's already proven he doesn't like playing second fiddle to anybody. So he's going to play second fiddle to Jalen Brunson, who's a better playmaker than him. He's going to play third fiddle possibly to RJ Barrett, who's also proven to be a better playmaker than him. I just don't see the fit.
Alex, you've been awfully quiet. What are your thoughts? You had your hand up earlier.
Well, yeah, because I was about to say something, but I'm like, you know what? Donald has more of a he's got.
Don't be afraid to ask questions either, Alex.
Yeah, just say whatever you want, man.
No, I know. I can see us closing lineups with Brunson and Quick. MH says. Don was bringing up a point earlier in terms of the process of getting Brunson, like moving back and all this shit and whatnot. Now I find it pointless because what you could have done, and this is revisionist history, of course, and I've kind of toned down on Mitchell Robinson. He's, with the offensive upside and stuff like that. And I know Donald was a big fan of Jalen Duren.
So was I.
You could have selected him at what was our pick, 11?
Yes.
And still available. And still traded and still signed Jalen Brunson with Lee, which is a cheaper option than going out overpaying Mitchell Robinson, someone who has no offensive upside. But I guess this is what the system that Thibodeau likes. This is the guys that he wants, and that I guess that's one of the front office.
Let me just say, it really wasn't about that. It was actually about Mitch coming back because it was cited in the Ian Begley article. Mitch coming back was all about him wanting to grow with his teammates and his young guys. Grimes, you think Quickly, you think Barrett. That was really actually about him. But in all essence, continue.
But I could see that, and I appreciate Mitch for that. But he's got to grow offensively too, because if you're not making your free throws, if you're not, just
I want
shit other than alley oops. I mean, what does it mean to this team? But once again, to go back to the point before, I mean, he's the type of guy that Tibbs likes, as you guys have described multiple times before. And my worry with this is I'm just not sold that I don't even know what to predict about this team, even from a casual standpoint, because Brunson, he comes into a not offensive friendly system. Randall supposedly has lost weight to play defense, which I don't.
Let me just say, Alex. You mentioned the point. Who cares if he lost weight? That doesn't automatically predict what he's going to do on the court. Just had to say it. I'm sorry. I'll go into that when I go into my thoughts.
It was a big drama thing on Twitter playing Monday morning quarter.
I'll explain that. that.
But I don't know. From a casual standpoint, I'm just not too much of a fan of the way this offseason went. Like, if you wanted to go get Brunson, go get Brunson because his dad's a coach on the team. But once again, you could have circled around that. Now, I don't know how much they would have been in pursuit for other free agents. That's something you really can't predict. But if Mitchell, for instance, goes to another team and Duren obviously signs his rookie contract and you select nobody else in the draft, I mean,
they drafted Trevor Keels obviously in the second round.
But other than that, like, that could have opened something, whether you felt you had all right with the kids or signed a veteran. You could have chosen a direction there other than, just, do what they did. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to say.
Keep an eye out for Montero. I think that was an underrated.
Sean Montero?
Yep. Unrestricted free agent. Undrafted free agent. I think that was an underrated pickup. He was outside chance of being a first-round pick going into the workout process, but then he got hurt, and it affected his draft stock. But during all last year, there was a lot of mocks that had him in the first round, in the later first round. He's a playmaker, and he plays defense. So I think that I think he's going to play in the G League. I think he'll be fine in Westchester, and we'll see what he can do. I certainly liked the cameo that he put together in Summer League to this point. I'm higher on him than Keels. So we'll see how that goes. I read an article that had him as the best undrafted free agent available, and we got him. So that's something. It's something. I'm not saying he's going to be a star, or I'm not saying he's anything yet, but it's something.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Alex, you have anything more left to say?
I mean, it's just got to take a gamble on drafted or second round guys, seeing we aren't great with first. Yeah, second round has been for the last few years, But overall, man, I'm just underwhelmed because we could have done so much more, and I'm going to take a guess that Noel and Burks, how much were they making compared to what Julius was making? Combine them, though.
Burks was on a 3-year, $30 million contract. You do the math, that's around $10 million a year. You do Noel's contract, that's around $9 million a year for a backup center.
But what's Randall making?
Randall is making. Let me give you the exact numbers. Again, he's on a max contract. Julius Randle. I want to say around, let's see, 23 million, then 25 million, then 27 million, then 29 million.
That's the problem I have, and I know Tibbs is going to be super fucking,
Hard on.
I think he's going to forget what happened last, season, and where Randall was basically being a little bitch baby, but to be frank about it, to be clear about it, I don't think he's going to play Obi. I don't think anything's going to change in that area.
No, he's going to play Obi. It might be just for limited minutes, though.
Well, okay, so there's that, but it's weirded me out, and I understand that this is, of course, would go against Tibbs's thing of veterans and shit like that. But why wouldn't you make trading Randall an actual priority, knowing that he's probably the worst contract on your team?
The front office apparently believes in him, Alex. That's what I've read. I'm being serious when I say that. So I'm going to go in my overview. I'm going to start with the draft. Draft strategy, even though some people were praising it, some people said it was good, and this and that. I didn't like it at all. I think it was pretty wasted, in my opinion.
I've never seen anyone trade out of the draft or
just to move a contract. And I said on the draft stream that this contract was pretty movable, or you could just buy out Kemba Walker outright without giving. Again, I'm not a stickler with giving up compensation much, but trading, wasting a selection of Ousmane Deng. He's on the OKC Thunder now, but
Max is good at his job.
Yeah, so wasting that pick on Ousmane Deng, again. I was personally a guy for Duran. Like, I know Don was mentioning Abaji. Who's that one guy from Ohio State? Malachi Branham for shooting wise, all these different things. There were some linear candidates, but I was very baffled by the strategy. I just didn't know what they were doing with the draft. Clearing space, fine, but you could have bought out Kemba Walker outright. It was $8 million. I'm sorry, $9 million over a 2-year span. The first year was already gone. You just buy out the $9 million from this year. It's not hard. You see Goran Dragic and Danilo Gallinari being bought out. Gallinari was signed to a larger contract than Kemba Walker was. More money. So you put that into play. Now we head to free agency. Before that, you have Burks and Noel traded. Essentially, you got nothing back.
Yep.
That's the part I don't like, but I respect Leon Rose for trying to correct his mistake. I respect it. I don't like that we overvalued that one season, which it was overvalued. It's an anomaly season. It's an anomaly season, as I call it. It was an anomaly.
That's his favorite word.
Yes, and also mantra, as Alex calls it. But it was an overvalued season. As Donald said, how many times it was overinvested. Noel, Burks, all these different guys. So you have that. You move on to free agency. You do what you got to do. You got Jalen Brunson. Some of an overpay, all right. That's how it is. He's the 14th most highest paid point guard. You think guys like Westbrook, Curry, John Wall at a time was paid higher than him. You think of all these different guys. I don't think it's such a concern. Maybe you consider Brunson at least a top 15, top 20 point guard in the league, so it's not bad. But You did that. Then you sign a guy in Isaiah Hartenstein. Now, I like the signing, but I also like that. But also kind of, I'm not going to say I'm against it, because I'm not. Because he gives you a skill set that Mitch doesn't have. And that's where I'm going to show you some clips. So we're going to show you a little. Let me just say for the record, Miami Heat, Utah Jazz are both interested in the sign and trade for Colin Sexton. I originally thought he was going back on an option. Obviously not. So I'm going to pull up what Isaiah Hartenstein is capable of. He's a good passer. I do a lot of gestures. He's a good passer. He's a good rim protector. He moves without the ball, and he could space the floor a little bit. Now the 3-point attempts will obviously they're kind of skewed because he shot 46 or whatever. Great finisher at the basket, but again, he'll probably take more 3-pointers as we come to it. So let's see this first piece of film. I'm gonna share the screen of what Isaiah Hartenstein can do. Let me just put this up, and here is number one of the Isaiah Hartenstein threat. Alex, please. You know what? I think I got it. I got it. So Ariel Pacheco, I love what he does. Hartenstein is a very good passer for his position and is always looking for cutters to find. He makes solid reads with the ball in his hands, and his ability to pass and run dribble handoffs makes him great at running high post actions. So this is the play-in tournament. Isaiah Hartenstein getting real backup minutes. Let me just put this on mute. Hartenstein lined up right here against Karl-Anthony Towns, waiting for the handoff. Inside to man, out to Powell for three. Just an incredible pass right there, right through the seams. Let's watch it again. Finds the cutting Terrence Mann. That's what you call threading the needle, folks. So excellent passing ability right there. We're going to get out of this real quick, and we're going to move on to the next piece. So we are going to hop into this one. So this also makes him a good release valve for guards when they get trapped. He's a good decision maker when this often leads to him to finding open shooters, especially in situations like this where he can play 4-on-3. So we're going to dive into this. Let's move this back a little bit. Hartenstein in the middle on the high post. Cutting man is covered nicely by Patrick Williams. He finds Luke Kennard for the open three. Very good court vision. Let's watch that again. Pass to Hartenstein at the top of the key. You see that Terrence Mann is going to cut into the paint. Williams defends it nicely. Very good defender. Kennard, open three-pointer. Yes. Let's now go to the next piece of film, as I call it. Let me just stop this right here. Another big aspect of his game, Isaiah Hartenstein's, is floater. Awesome touch in the short mid-range area, 52% from there, and he looks for it often. It's a useful shot in this big's arsenal. All right. Stop right here. It is Wizards, Clippers. Here is, I think this is Bledsoe. Bledsoe around the screen finds Hartenstein. Hartenstein, silky smooth floater. Back at it again. Bledsoe finds Hartenstein open. Floater's good. Back, next piece. Worth noting that he's also a very good screen setter. Something that Mitch needs to work on, his screen setting. Back at it, worth noting, screen setter always rolls hard. His screens open things up for the offense, and New York, outside of Rose and Brunson, do not have guards who can consistently create without a screen. It's also what helps make him effective in these DHOs. Lakers, Clippers. So, mute this. You got Reggie Jackson at the top of the key. Austin Reeves defending. You have, I think this is Carmelo Anthony covering the roll man. Screen, pop, inside. Although it is a missed dunk, it was a foul on the play. So he rolls, good screen setter, rolls hard to the basket. Obviously, he's a very good finisher from there. Obviously, he was fouled on that play. Next, one thing about being a good screen setter like Hartenstein is knowing when not to screen and slip to the basket instead. Hartenstein is a great feel as a screener. This is a perfect example. Watch how the defense completely collapses due to his slip, opening the three on the wing. So we're going to stop right here. We're going to pull it back. Jackson, roll to the basket, leaving a wide open Luke Kennard because for the that was actually a three miss. So now you're going to see two guys on the pick and roll. Nobody's covering a wide open Hartenstein until the defender Herbert Jones collapses. You got 2-on-1 right here, which opens up Luke Kennard, which should be a made three. So we're going to pull that back. Next, he's an awesome guy to run DHOs handoff with an in part because he can put the ball on the floor. He fakes the DHO here and ends up drawing a foul. Worth mentioning, he can sometimes get a little too ambitious on the drives by jumping before he knows what he's going to do. Mute this right here. 51-74. Hartenstein has it against Bielitsa. Fakes the handoff, goes inside, is fouled right here. Obviously, maybe there's a little bit better. You could have put a better touch on that. See it again. Drive with the left. Foul right there. So that is a little bit of what Isaiah Hartenstein can do. Donald, what were your thoughts?
I think we overpaid for Mitch Robinson because Hartenstein actually helps us in a multitude of different ways that Mitch Robinson can. Sets better screens. He's also a threat from three. He shot 38% from three. And you know what I love? His passing. he's a lefty, right? So him and RJ Barrett, I can see, are going to have a partnership because he's going to feed RJ Barrett, who's going to cut to the paint. I can also see, I can see him feeding Obi Toppin, who likes to do backdoor cuts. I can see he'd be perfect at that. These are all skill sets that Mitch Robinson can't. So it just makes me question why we paid $60 million when we've got Jericho Sims who's balling out. Where's he going to fit with in the rotation? So maybe we could have just selected Jalen Duren and saved ourselves $60 million in the cap. But that's by the by. To discuss Isaiah Hartenstein, his skill set is exactly what we look for. He's a rim protector. He averages over 2 blocks per game. He shoots over 38% from 3. He's good inside the paint. He sets good screens. These are all skill sets which is going to get improved. He showed signs for the Rockets, but it was the Clippers that really developed his game. I think that Thibodeau is going to grow to love him. And I really hope that we give him serious minutes. But how is he going to fit alongside Julius Randle, who needs the ball in his hands all the time? I don't see the two of them working together. Julius Randle's already shown he can't work with Mitchell Robinson because he's not a stretch 4, and Mitchell Robinson can't shoot. So again, it just makes me question, as Alex says, the way that they've built this team. The talent is there. The talent is there everywhere. I'm not even saying Julius Randle's not talented. Julius Randle's a very talented scorer. I'm just talking about his fit in this roster of young guys. And we know that Julius Randle needs to have the ball in his hands in order to be effective. And how is that going to fit with guys like Isaiah Hartenstein, who's got beautiful vision for a center? And how is that going to fit with Jalen Brunson, who's going to be our primary playmaker? RJ Barrett, who likes the ball in his hands. I have serious questions about all this, but the clips show that Hartenstein is going to be a very, very nice pickup. $8 million per year is a steal. I really like it. The more I watch this film, the more I like it.
So yeah, Hartenstein, I really like. Alex, what were your thoughts on the film?
Obviously, some things to improve there, but I agree with Donald. Could have selected Duren and overpaid for Mitch Robinson because I feel like there's a lot of things he does correctly, and for a backup point guard, he does better than
backup point guard.
I'm tired. Backup center does better than Mitch does as a starting center.
Yeah, definitely. He's more offensively versatile as a backup. You had Nerlens Noel, who was he had some nice passes, but he wasn't a good screen setter. He was a good rim protector and lob threat, except he doesn't have hands. But more on that later. Let's see. So we did that. We did the Isaiah Hartenstein. Now let's look into Trevor Keels. So I'm going to pull up the video file. I know we talked about him a little bit in terms of his summer league stuff. So let me just pull up the downloads right here. This is Trevor Keels, everybody. 2nd round draft pick of the New York Knicks. Just add him to the stream. So let me just get into my profile right here, and we are ready to go. The Knicks' 1st round strategy was pretty bizarre, but it didn't mean they went without selecting a player in this draft. With the 42nd overall pick, the Knicks selected Trevor Keels, shooting guard out of Duke. Keels spent his time at Duke playing around amazing talents like Wendell Moore, Paolo Banchero, A.J. Griffin, and Mark Williams. Unfortunately, being around those guys just did not seem to click. Keels stands at 6'4" and has a wingspan of 6'7". Last season for the Blue Devils, Keels averaged 11.5 points per game, 2.7 assists, 3.4 rebounds per game, shot 67% from the free throw line, 31% from 3, and 42% from the field. So not a lot of efficient numbers. We're going to look at his finishing first. Keels is a reliably solid finisher at the basket. Mind you, he does not have a great first step or an elite type of burst to get to the basket, but his physical profile and toughness allow him to shake defenders on his way to the basket. Because Keels doesn't have the longest of wingspan, I could see him having some struggles in the area at the next level with more physicality. He did struggle with defenders in college, very lengthy ones especially. Keels will have to be more creative around the basket to be a better finisher. Using more of his left hand will also go a long way. So let's look at some of his finishing. Have the finish there, the rebound. Keels inside, tough finish. Keels on the outside. Driving to the basket very hard and gritty. Tough finish there. Keels on the drive again. Layup inside, very crafty with the right hand. Keels in the post. Could have drawn a foul there, but the shot goes. Keels off the screen. Inside, uses the right hand again. Back out, off the screen. Keels on the drive. Tough finish with the foul. Back at it again. Keels alley-oop layup is good. Keels cutting to the basket. Good again. Nice cut from Keels again. Again, very good finisher, solid cutter as well. This is a bad finish right here. We'll see a lot of struggling. Bad decision there. Keels on the drive. Right into traffic. Not a lot of creativity. So he's now going to have to stutter. And just doesn't have that elite burst. Bad finish there. So there is some work that needs to be done in the finishing department. Footwork maybe could go a long way as well. So back at it. Moving to his mid-range and shooting profile. Keel shows decent mechanics on the jumper, but he has just not seen it fall consistently this year. He's shown a step-back mid-range jumper in spurts along with some three-point shooting. Keels will need more lift on his jumper, especially on his threes, if he wants to push his efficiency. He will not likely be tasked with shooting as much threes as he did in the poor spacing he was in at Duke. So let's see some jumpers. Keels mid-range jumper, got it. Around the screen. Tough mid-range, just gets in. Keels again, step back 2, got it. Keels just off the catch and shoot, misses. Keels on the drive, tough mid-ranger, front rim. Another one, back rim. Keels on the drive, step back 2, very tough contest, not a good shot. Keels on the drive again. Shot no good. Keels from 3, this time makes it. Keels puts in a 3, gets it. This big game for him. Another 3 from Keels, right off the catch. Keels slither 3. Get another one. Misses. So a ton of, again, the thing with the shooting mechanics is the front rim. There's a lot of front and back rims. So there's not enough lift there, not a lot of consistency. Now, as a secondary ball handler, Keels did a nice job of making reads in the half-court setting and finding the open man. Even with a below-average handle, Keels' best asset as a passer is right out of the pick and roll. So let's go back to it. So we'll wait for this to load. Keels still trying to make some jumpers.
I don't love his mechanics. I think he's got a limited upside. I'm just going to say it now. I think he's got a limited upside. He's overly one-handed. Doesn't have great range, not athletic. I just think he's a second-round pick. I think he is what he is.
Keels on the drive. Another tough. Now he pivots. So I think I got to wait for this to get to the passing. Now this is the passing. Pick and roll. Finds the man under the basket. Alley-oop pass to Williams. Nice play. Out of the pick and roll again. Finds Mark Williams under the basket. Out kick out to Paolo Banchero for 3. Missed there. On the drive. This is actually part of his defense, actually. I'm just getting into his defense real quick. Keel's best attribute is defense, plays with a ton of grit, moves his feet well, doesn't have a long wingspan. His strength should help him guard the taller players. So this is all about his defense, staying still, moving his feet. Good, decent lateral quickness, not great. On the drive, tough mid-range jumper. And that's pretty much that for Trevor Keels. Don, what are your thoughts? I think you just gave him already. Just not a very raw.
Limited upside. He could work out. He'll need a lot of seasoning in the G League. Could work out, but he doesn't jump off the page in terms of athleticism and shooting, and
like Jets.
And he's overly one-handed. Don't see a huge amount of upside there, but listen, the Knicks have actually drafted pretty well over the course of the last few years. So, maybe they found lightning in a bottle. I don't particularly see it. However, he did come from a very, very good school, and so he's been coached well. So there might be a hidden talent there. He just needs to get a lot of seasoning and a lot of coaching in G League, I think.
Let me just say the Knicks are playing, obviously, right here against the Portland Trailblazers. Ferran Hunt made a 3. Obviously, he's playing well in the G League. They're moving the ball, very action-packed, a lot of ball movement. Things I like to see. So, this team stands at 2-0 after the victories against the Warriors and the Bulls. Nice steal here by Deuce McBride, and nice pass. Hunt is fouled clearly, but they didn't call it. It was Deuce McBride with the bucket. Now, the debate we've been waiting for, who's your starting shooting guard for the Knicks upcoming this season? I said I put it between 2 players, Quentin Grimes and Cam Reddish. Now, here's what 2 players offer. Reddish is going into a contract year. That doesn't mean he's going to get the starting spot, but he might be a little more motivated and play better. Also hit the gym more. He's good, lengthy defender. He's also a good shot creator and puts the ball on the floor. Very good ball handler. He also needs the ball in his hands to succeed. So he's not this sort of role player. He's going to have to get the ball somehow. So what are your thoughts on Cam Reddish?
He should be traded. Don't see a fit for him. But I think that Grimes should be our starting 2. Fournier should be a scoring guard off the bench. But I'm gonna have to take this opportunity to sign off. I'm gonna shoot off at this stage, so I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I look forward to catching you all next week. And I will catch my 2 guys over here on Thursday.
Thursday at the Yankee game, Donald.
Yep.
Let's do it. Right. Sorry for having to sign off.
PayPal when you get a chance, of course.
Of course. It'll happen. No problem.
Yeah.
Good night, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Right.
Right. So that will be the end of Dornold once he gets here. All right. I gotta switch this up here. All right.
So you want me to continue with my basketball segment?
Well, if you want to, go ahead.
So another thing, obviously, I described the Quentin Grimes, Cam Reddish little debate. Some Knicks fans are saying, Reddish should start, Grimes should start. Reddish gives you that shot creation, Grimes gives you the defense. Obviously, both are very good defenders. That's what they share in common. But I think Grimes is, fit to start. Reddish has a long way to go, in my opinion. Obviously, he didn't get the minutes that he should have last year. That's just my opinion. So sophomore season incoming for Quentin Grimes, good defender who can get into the jersey of his assignments. He's very mentally tough, has shown the ability to put the ball on the floor, especially in the summer league. He's also shown a nice ability to pass. He's also earned rotation minutes before Cam Reddish last season. Tom Thibodeau's very stickler with the rookies. He's very double standardish, I would say, rookies and vets, but I guess he's earned. Obviously, this is one of those, disconnect trades with the front office trading for Cam Reddish. The front office want to do that. The Knicks coaching staff didn't want to do it. So there you go. That's for that. Just a little tidbits from the summer league stuff. So let me just get into some film here. Let me share my screen real quick. Guys, appreciate you being with us. So let me just dive into some film real quick. So Ben Ritholtz, who works for Knicks Film School, let's make this into a summer league Ritz Bits session. Gene Montero, who signed, as Donald said, undrafted free agent, has unique ingenuity to his passing that pops. To change the angle on the entry was brilliant. Such a fun little player. Yes, his biggest pros coming out of where he was drafted, I think he was from the DR. Anyway, it was defense and passing. So let's get to it. So let me just mute this right here. Pass off to Montero. Montero's number 77 at the top of the key. Montero looking around. A little solid handle. Waits. Nice pass to Sims on the inside. Sims finds the dunk, or I should say the layup and the foul. Let's watch that again. Montero has it. Montero waiting. Takes the one-on-one assignment around the screen. Nice screen by Simmons, as we said. Better screen setter. Sims posts up inside for the and one. Let's go to this next play right here. So Trevor Keels, another guy we talked about earlier, not very high on him. The main worry with Keels is right here. Truly minimal lift for a dude with the height is a problem. 18, so perhaps there's some development in the works, but regardless, he's going to have to develop a ton of craft using his strength and angles to clean rim looks. Here we go. Just read this. Keels right at the corner of the key. Keels on the drive. Keels inside. Bad miss. We're going to see this again. Keels on the drive. Remember, this guy's rolling to the basket, so he could easily throw in the pass. It was an open passing lane right here. Possibly a bounce pass was available. What's that?
Tunnel vision.
That's not really a thing with Keels. Remember, we highlighted in the little film review, he's a nice passer.
No, I know. I'm just saying on that specific play.
On that specific play, yes. He was looking for his own shot. Not a great play there. Taquan Jeffries, I don't think we have to go over that. So now I'm going to get into Jericho Sims. This is what he's shown off in the summer. Like, watch his dribble. Watch the confidence grow in Jericho Sims with easy grab and go off rebound. How long do we see him try to go before we see him try to go coast to coast? So here we go. Sims off the rebound, dribbling nonetheless. Sims hands off to Trevor Keels. Here we go. Another rebound situation. Off the dribble again. It actually fast-paced as well, so that's kind of impressive. Missed rebound, missed free throw. Here comes Jericho Sims pushing. Now, it's a little loose, not going to lie, but obviously a little out-of-control pass before. It's a little loose, but you know what? I give him credit for showing off his hand a little bit. I want to see that happen in the NBA, in preseason, in the regular season. Give him a more of a diverse skill set. I want to see that happen. So I think we're going to clear that out. I think that is all my bookmarks. So obviously the handles. Miles McBride, excellent defense is still on display, but he is showing a lack of ability to get to the basket. Obviously, he doesn't have great speed or great athleticism, and he doesn't have a great handle, so that's obviously boding a problem for him. So there's that. Taj Gibson, obviously cut by the team, will sign with the Wizards. Alex, what are your expectations for OB year 3?
It's tough. First of all, my question that I was going to pose with Sims is, who do you think is a better rebounder? Because how many times last year? Well, yeah, actually, how many times last year, teams would take like 5 different shots without the Knicks getting the ball?
I think Mitch is a better rebounder in my opinion, but Sims offers that. I think he's a better athlete. He's a better vertical leap. So I think he has the better fit for those rebounds.
Okay. Expectations OB year 3?
Yeah.
Gotta put this in a casual sense. If Julius Randle is not moved, I would expect only a slight incremental increase, if that's ever a saying, in his minutes and his development. Other than that, if they do move Randle, it's going to be... Who else is in his spot other than Randle?
That's pretty much it in terms of power forwards.
Okay, so I wouldn't expect them to have, if they move Randle, I wouldn't expect them to have like the biggest year, but I would like to see some progression if they do move Randle. If they don't, then expect what you saw last year, only incremental improvement in minutes.
Yeah, I still want him to show out like he did last year, but it's obviously in a limited time. Thibodeau is very stickler with the vets and all this different things. Again, I just want him to have a more advanced role. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to trade Julius Randle, unfortunately. And the thing is with the, he lost weight. I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care. Am I a hater if I just don't care? Prove me wrong on the court, not off the court. Obviously, and also don't be a bitch off the court, obviously. But you know what? Play defense, work on your game, work on being a smarter player. That's all I say. Prove me wrong on the court. That's it.
I don't think weight was a big problem with his defense. I think it was that he gave up.
Yeah, it was. It was all the effort. Off-season hype does not convince me of anything with this guy. He has to prove me wrong. So I think that's that. I think we could wrap it up.
Final thoughts?
Excellent show all around. We hit 3-hour mark. Impressive. Baseball talk was excellent. We dove into a little bit of football. Talking basketball with Donald's always good. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Obviously, we'll be on vacation next week to Atlantic City for a few days. But then, Alex, by the time we get back, it's going to be the start of training camp, and we get to really dive into the headlines.
Yeah. Jack, what's going on, man?
That's not true.
Aaron Boone gets so easily triggered by the umpires every game. He had a beef last night, though.
Which pitches to Stanton were strikes in that at bat?
No, there weren't. To be fair, there weren't any. But Jack, I think you're an Orioles fan, so good luck on your Orioles. I know they've been playing some really hot baseball lately. But yeah, for closing out the show, once again, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Jets Mess, I think, was pretty much with us the whole show. Joe was with us for a little bit. I know Pete was popping in. Evan was popping in. I'm going to read some more. Wales, too. Shouts to Wales. Stracy from Twitch. Blue City. Jeff. What was I going to say? Tony got the 54,000, of course. Tudo. And I think that's pretty much it. Rob also tuned in. So we appreciate you guys. Yankees Kyle. That's another name. So we appreciate the diversity in terms of who tuned in today. Obviously, also Sox Arizona. 3-hour show, which we usually don't hit, but it's going to get better. It's going to get better. We always say this. We said this last year. It's going to get better when football comes around and we have more stuff to talk about because the Knicks will be, we'll be finishing up. I should say there's a little bit of an indent between that and the next season, but baseball will be going on the trade deadline. We'll be talking training camp. Red Sox are frauds. Yeah, they lost big tonight to Tampa. Nobody cares about the Red Sox in Boston. It's all Bruins and Patriots up there, bud. Yeah, I mean, listen, you don't got to tell me that, but the Red Sox, I feel like, will pose a threat to the Yankees if the Yankees don't make the proper adjustments at the trade deadline, which we will continue to talk about on this podcast.
Yes.
When the trade deadline happens, which I think next week, obviously, we said we're on vacation, which unfortunately, guys, there will be a little bit more of an inconsistent schedule. So just stay tuned for updates. If we could get to 500 subscribers within the next few days, and I know that's a big ask because we're at like 480 something right now, that would be great because I could tell you guys over YouTube, listen, we don't have a podcast today or whatever, rather than some of you guys who don't have Twitter and all this other stuff. But let's try to get to 500 subscribers so we can get the community notes going. But with that being said, so what's the trade deadline? August 1st?
July 31st, August 1st.
Okay, so when we come back on the 25th,
let me ask this: do you think we should do a trade deadline space?
I would not be opposed to it, but obviously we'll see what's going on in terms of that week. But the 25th will be a week away from the trade deadline, so we will have a lot of talk here. We'll be into August already, so training camp would have already... Actually, no, training camp will start, but I know I'll see what days I want to go because I definitely want to hit training camp again. Yankees will cream the Reds. We will be out there on Thursday with Joe, obviously Donald, who signed off a couple of minutes ago. That'll get ugly quickly. Yeah, we'll be there on Thursday. Luis Castillo will be on the mound. So it's going to be a fun game. And then also, you know what? I'm going to put it out there. If I get in trouble, I get in trouble, whatever. We'll be having our own not NYY News TV Day, but we're having the Somerset Patriots are having a podcasting day on July 24th in New Jersey. So if any of you guys live in Jersey, come out to Somerset that day. Our NYY News TV crew is going to be there, including myself and Luca, of course, Donald as well. Basically, what we're getting is we're going to get some media access before the game with one player, and we'll basically have some fans to share out with, basically promoting our channel. We've already hit 9K subscribers on NYY News TV, so 10K is not that far away. It's really not. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. Like, comment, subscribe, share out, put on those post notifications so you know when the live stream pops drops. Appreciate y'all guys coming back. Once again, there will not be a show of Boys in Big Apple till next the 25th, but we will have a show. We'll have some sort of show next Wednesday because I forgot to advertise the giveaway. If you guys don't know already, I am doing a giveaway of a Mets hat before Actually, it's going to be commencing next Wednesday. And I know this is very improper because I should have brought this up earlier, but giving away a Mets hat next Wednesday. We have 2 entered in the contest already. If you want to be entered in the contest, let me know. And you just have to show proof of some things. But please share out, do all the good stuff. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool and have a good night.